What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. It's good to have everybody here. Hope everyone is having a great day. It's been a little bit of a crazy afternoon over here. Talking about a whole bunch going on. We've got Donald Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia, which is going to be a big thing. Of course, the left is going to find a way to melt down about that. Talking about the city in Texas again. There is a podcast called Spot On with Link Lauren that I'm going to show you. I was told that this is something to talk about. I may agree with it. I may not. I don't know. Going over Chuck Schumer and some of the issues with him not addressing Biden along with CNN. It's important to know there's, I guess, a nodule that was found on Joe Biden's prostate today, and wishing him the best for recovery, of course. But this is a reality based upon his age that we're all going to have to kind of come to grips with and witness. Going to talk about some key rhinos who voted against Trump. We're going to talk about the new Air Force One. And let's see, Rikers Island, now in federal government custody. It's going to be interesting. We'll be back in 3 minutes. I get a lot of crap from people saying that, I call out Trump, I'll call out the Republicans, I'll call out the Democrats, I'll call out left, right, up, down, and middle, but I will not call out Israel. Okay, first of all, that's not true. That's a complete fabrication. And the comment is that I am on Ben Shapiro's Johnson, and that might be true, I guess, maybe. Because I will admit, it was kind of cool when we outperformed him 1 month for lives. That was kind of a cool thing. And, he is a very smart guy. And when I was coming up to the conservative realm, he was somebody who I really enjoyed listening to and still do from time to time. But he had this comment, and I thought it was interesting. Just a little proof in the pudding. Qatar is not giving away a $400 million jet out of goodwill. Their goal is to gain influence. Just a few years ago, Qatar gave $1 million to the Clinton Foundation without informing the State Department, raising questions about foreign influence. I happen to agree with him, but I also wanted to point out a little bit of the hypocrisy in Ben. It says, as of 23-24 election cycle, the American Israel Public Affairs and Committee, the AIPAC, and its affiliated super PAC, the United Democracy Project, UDP, have collectively spent approximately $126.9 million on U.S. political campaigns. This total includes over $55.2 million in direct contributions to federal candidates, with at least $45.2 million directed to members of the 119th Congress alone. If we're going to call out one, probably should call out the other, Ben. Come on, Benjamin. I expect a little better of you. Michael, I'll answer your question in just a second. One of the things that I hear most often, that I always try to help people connect the dots, is what is past is prologue. And although Shakespeare, not my favorite, it's an interesting thing when you look at 1980 and the crack epidemic and what the United States government was involved in with the Contras.
No kidding.
So I don't understand why people are so shocked and they call Roseanne a conspiracy theorist. Because there's evidence in the past of the government getting involved in this, and there's plenty of books on this, and you can read this.
Here's what I think. I love your show, by the way, Matt Spear, and
Thank
watch
you, ma'am.
Just discovered you about a week ago,
ma'am.
Oh my God, this guy's a genius. The facts he can spew.
God, I love you.
You can spew fact, and that's the sign of a genius.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I appreciate you asking me that.
So you just made my life.
I do remember back when they were bringing the crack cocaine into the black.
I'm just excited to talk to her on Friday, so maybe I'll get a word in. She's going to be amazing. We're so excited to have her.
Neighborhoods, and that proved that the CIA was doing it because
Yes,
they were grooming that population, and they've been.
The DUM Show, May 16th, 2025. 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. One goal, one night, one chance. Chris Baranto, Laura Logan, Roseanne Barr, Jason Shepard, T.S. Dixon, Damani Felder, Barry Morgenstein, Ryan Samuels, Lisa Regina. One night only. The race to 20K is on. Be part of it.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the
2 days, 23 hours, 3 days away.
Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
So it's a really interesting question. How do we come up with Dumb Nation? And I guess, whoa. Jeez. I mean, I don't need to be that big, but okay. That's better. Let's shrink that down just a little bit. Okay. How do we come up with Dumb Nation? It's actually a really good question. And it's honestly one I haven't really talked about. So the dummies and the etymology of dummies. So Barstool Sports, they have their Stoolies, right? And Dave Portnoy and team, they call, their people the Stoolies. But one night, and this was like in the first couple of weeks of this, is that we create, it wasn't Don't Unfriend Me when we first started. It had no name. It was nothing. It was just me on my, Matt Spear personal page, which you go follow me over there if you want to. I think I've got like 400 followers. I don't even go near that page, but it's associated to Don't Unfriend Me, and I'm the main account holder. So anyway, we had no name. So when we first sat down and started thinking about this, I started chewing it over, and I knew I wanted something like I was going to say, we were going to name it the World Apology Tour. And that was, because Joe Biden and apologizing to the world. So the World Apology Tour is what we came up with. And it really didn't sit with me because it was like, what? W-A-T or what? So it just, I don't know. And then I looked at the URL and the URL was taken. And I'm like, it's too long. It's too long. Come here, Ash. And I'm like, it's too long. I'm not going to do that. So the whole reason we started it was because of the godparents of my kids and a personal family friend of ours essentially told us that they were no longer going to be our friend because my wife voted for Donald Trump, in so many words. So I was like, you're unfriending us because of because of what? And it pissed me off. So I did a show, 30 minutes, and, I just got on and started ranting. And I got really grumpy about it, So I went on, and this was during COVID, and my God, we need to share this out, folks, please. I don't know what's going on, but that's pretty low for entry numbers. So if we can, there we go. Now they're starting to go up. Anyway, so I'm going to get this out. So I was sitting with a graphic designer, because even though I did graphic design, I don't like doing my own design. And I've gotten over that since. But it's a friend of mine named Alekos, and he's Greek, and he's a good dude. And we're sitting there, and he's like, well, tell me what the story is. And I said, well, it was, we friends and godparents and Trump and the election. And then, why did they unfriend us? And he's like, unfriend, huh? He's like, is unfriend a word? And I said, no, I don't think so. Because if a person's not your friend, and if they're your friend, that's the descriptor, right? And we just start doing the friend thing. He's like, friend. And he's like, wait a second, how about just don't unfriend me? And of course, that sounded really cool. And Olivia signed off, and then I told him to make a logo. And the only thing I did not make in the entire graphic design world of everything we've done, even Wimkin, I did Wimkin's logo, is the don't unfriend me rhino elephant in the mic, which is behind me right there. He made that. And I said, it's got to have a rhino, and it's got to, or it's got to have an elephant, and it's got to have a donkey. Sorry, rhino. And he's like, okay, I'll figure out. And I said, there's got to be a mic in it. And the way he did it, and the way he cut this logo, I love this logo. Like, I think it's great. So, needless to say, that is how the name came about. Now, as far as how did we come up with Dumb Nation? Now, this has nothing to do with me. And here's the logo, just in case you want to see it. You see a little cursing, a microphone, a speech bubble, and the donkey and the elephant. And the elephant is part of the donkey. It's just red, which kind of signifies that it's same bird, different wings type thing, So I love the logo. So then we were sitting, this is probably night 7 of Don't Unfriend Me. And this was right before January 6th. So this was kind of a crazy time. We were just getting started. And the shows, we maybe had 7 people on every night. Like, I feel for guys that I watch people on live now, and I'm just like, oh, dude, I'll just watch. Sometimes I'll just open up my phone or my iPad and have multiple shows going and mute them, just so those people have viewers, because I feel so bad, right? So we were sitting here, and we did a segment on Portnoy, because he was doing amazing things, and I just did a quick segment on Portnoy, and somebody goes, yeah, the Stoolies. He's like, well, why don't we go ahead and do the dummies? And I'm like, well, do we really want to call people dummies? Is that what we want to do? And the 7 viewers that we had are like, dude, they call us deplorable. They call us Nazis. They didn't call us insurrectionists yet, because January 6th didn't happen. So why don't we just call and say we're the dummies? And as we know, the Stoolies for Barstool Sports aren't stool pigeons. They sit on stools, so they call them Stoolies. And that could have negative connotation, because it's a bunch of men's asses sitting on a stool. So, so the dummies, it kind of stuck. So here's the other thing. I didn't know if I liked it. So I didn't love it, because I didn't want to degrade my audience, right? Because some people, I didn't want to explain the story every single night for the rest of my life. So I just stopped explaining it. But there was a point where I was trying out for WMAL radio in Washington, D.C., and there was an offer for me to possibly go in and do a weekend show, because they had seen it, and we had a relationship with several of the guys in WMAL, and we bought a lot of advertising from them. And when they were talking to me before the possible interview, the question came about, do you still call your people dummies? And I said, well, I don't call them dummies. They call, yes, we still do that. And they said, well, are you willing to not do that? And I said, no, I'm not. And then I didn't get the radio interview. And it probably had to do with my cussing and some other things. But then I was like, well, screw it. Now I'm going to keep it. So when we came back, the Dumb Nation was born. And now it's a sign of a rite of passage, kind of. Everybody puts on the shirt and the hat, and we have a Dumb Nation jacket and hat, and it's just kind of cool. So, yeah. So there you go. You can get a Dumb Nation jacket. We're going to be giving one away on the fundraiser on Friday, along with some other things. So we're excited to do this. But there's the story. So I figured I would give that to you. That puts us at the 7:19 mark. That's good enough. Now we can start getting into the show. Couple housing cleanup options. I want to thank Paul Rivera for the late night donation last night. It was awesome to close that gap. It was a crazy night. We got on very late, and it just so much is going into the Friday show. We're constantly behind, so we do appreciate getting to goal. We did that without Bobby last night, which is amazing because Bobby wasn't here. So it's nice to see everyone pitch in. Goals back up. 300 is what we're focused on. We've got 2 days, 23 hours until the event of, I'm thinking it's like kind of like the event of the year, I think I don't know any other channel that's bringing Roseanne Barr and Laura Logan and T.S. Dixon and Damani Felder and Tonto all together for one night. I don't know if anyone's ever done anything like this. So it's okay, Bobby. You don't have to be sorry. So I don't know. It's like, I think this is a huge event for conservative, and maybe this becomes an annual thing, and it becomes instead of sending everybody to TPUSA and all this other stuff, maybe it's an online event, and maybe we book some very influential people and do what we did in COVID, but do it without being forced this time, which is all coming together. So anyway, there's that. So if you haven't had a chance, go to thedumbshow.com/donate. If you want to get a hat, you want to get a shirt, you want to get a logo, whatever, please do that and go over and go to thedumbshow.com. And remember, Friday night, 6 o'clock is when we start. Final confirmation from Roseanne is a thumbs up. She will be here. I think her son is going to have her, Jason Shepard from Wimpkin's going to chaperone Miss Barr, which would be great. And then we have Laura Logan coming as well, which we're very excited about. And she has confirmed, and so is Tonto and everybody else. So we have a full lineup. Guarantee everybody's saying they're going to be here, and we're going to plan on it. All right, so let's get into it. Jimmy Kimmel. I can't stand Jimmy Kimmel. It's kind of funny. Jimmy Kimmel and I kind of went on our weight journey at the same time. Both inherently have chubby cheeks. And no matter what we do, how much we lift, how much we lose, you're always going to have those chubby cheeks. It's just the way it works. And I've had them my whole life. Nothing I can do about it. And when he was going through his weight loss journey, I guess, I was going through my addiction and everything else. And I always appreciated what he did for himself. And now I just realize he's a sanctimonious jerk. Here is a video where he is talking about Trump derangement syndrome and the effects of why he believes everybody should have TDS. Here is... Oh, did you just see that flash? Did you see it? Federal grand jury indicts Wisconsin judge Hannah Dugan in immigration case, allowing charges against her to continue. That's pretty big. Nothing like going after these judges who are going after Donald Trump. I don't mind checks and balances, but what I do mind is when political lawfare went from him running, and then all of a sudden it's now to shut down and stop Trump from executing the mandate that the American people assigned him with. Here is Jimmy Kimmel. Here is his comment on Trump derangement syndrome. Figure it'd make a decent topic for us tonight to dive into, and then we can explore it together. Here it is.
I laugh when people say, "Oh, you've got Trump."
Well, maybe we won't.
If you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome. And by the way, I think he has derangement syndrome about us, too. The fact of the matter is, this is a dangerous person. This is a stupid person. And that's a bad combination.
Wow. Well, this is a guy that used to take a look at women jumping on trampolines and take bites out of their ass from a invisible standpoint when they couldn't see him. I want to make sure everyone understands what derangement actually means. So if we listen to what Jimmy Kimmel says.
People say, oh, you've got Trump. If you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome.
It's interesting because the word derangement means you're irrational, which means you're unable to go ahead and capitulate and process, disseminate information in a non-emotional way. So, unfortunately, he completely misses the mark, because with that, the very definition of derangement syndrome removes someone's ability to be rational. And that would indeed make him stupid, because if we listen to it again,
you've got Trump.
It's a pause in the video.
If you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome. And by the way, I think he has derangement syndrome about us, too. The fact of the matter is, this is a dangerous person. This is a stupid person. And that's a bad combination.
So the only thing that he doesn't and can't apply to himself is dangerous. But disinformation is dangerous. And Jimmy Kimmel has done plenty of it. This is the guy who thought that he could beat Ted Cruz at basketball, and Ted Cruz mopped the floor with him. This is a person who is low testosterone, soy boy, estrogen-laden bovine material, and he is starving for relevancy. He's starving to, at his middle age, to re-identify himself as some sort of alpha male when he's not. And it's okay for someone not to be alpha. It's not a necessity for a man to be an alpha, but it is a necessity for a man to protect the people they love. And it is responsible for a man to protect the country that they love. It's responsible for a man to be honest and forthright and not to deceive and have malicious intent in order to gain one-uppance on another person. These are all the things that don't fall into the category of an alpha male or a person who is a responsible adult. And Jimmy Kimmel most assuredly checks none of those boxes in the affirmative. And the reason why is because he redefined himself. And the thing about redefining yourself, which is dangerous, is that when you say, I'm going to abandon everything I once believed, I don't believe you should be trusted. The reason why is pretty simple. Let's take a look at Tulsi Gabbard, a socialist, hands down progressive socialist her entire life. And the things she voted for were completely off the frickin' rocker for comparing it to conservative principles. And to all of a sudden abandon that and just say, I'm done. I don't believe in anything I used to believe in. I'm changing it. To me, that's dangerous. And I think it's a level of mistrust that's born through that. And I felt the same way about Dave Rubin as well. And Dave Rubin is someone I implicitly trust now, but it took me years of him leaving the Young Turks to actually trust him. So when Jimmy Kimmel completely just sheds his right-leaning principles, and Adam Carolla most assuredly is a conservative, somewhat libertarian constitutionalist, he's right in the middle. He's pretty middle of the road, socially very much like me, and fiscally conservative, believes in limited government, taxes or theft, all that type of stuff. That Jimmy completely has moved away from that. Now, Jimmy Kimmel and Adam are still friends, but Jimmy redefined himself and shed that skin, and now he can never go back to it. And that puts you in a box, and it puts you in a false dilemma that you now have to go ahead and agree with everything that comes from that side because you have shunned and torn the proverbial clothing in Judaism towards those thought processes and beliefs. And that, in my opinion, creates an esoteric level of naivety, something that is almost impossible to learn or relearn or be open to because you have forced yourself out of that box and never into it again. Sandra Edwards, 565. Thank you, Sandra. We love you and appreciate you. So with Jimmy Kimmel, when he speaks, I don't think about, well, this might be a fresh take like I do with Bill Maher, because I've seen Bill Maher remove himself from the box. He's come out of the comfort zone, where Jimmy Kimmel will never leave the liberal glass house that he's put himself in. So when he says everyone should have Trump derangement syndrome, well, that's obviously not true. What you're saying is everyone should think like you. And that's a level of derangement that's beyond the pale, is that at least Donald Trump respects people who oppose his opinions. In fact, I bet you Donald Trump would sit down and have dinner with you, but nobody advocates for you, Jimmy, because nobody likes you, or they at least don't trust you. And Bill Maher, the pot-smoking hippie multimillionaire who had made a living off of trouncing Trump for the last 8 years, sat down with Donald Trump because there were people who advocated on his behalf. I mean, how much of a douche plow must you be if nobody has made that offer for you? So I think Jimmy leads a sad life. I think he leads a half life. I think like Voldemort drank the blood of a unicorn and he lived a cursed life. I think Jimmy Kimmel drank too much soy and he now has an extremely half life. But that is what it is. Moving on, enough of Jimmy Kimmel. Donald Trump today gave a powerful speech in Saudi Arabia. Now, he started off with Lee Greenwood's song, Proud to Be an American, in Saudi Arabia. And people were clapping along and standing up and praising the music, which was just amazing. I'm trying to decide if that light should stay on or go off. Jen, good to have you here. On or off? You guys let me know. We're going to leave it on for a second. And with Saudi Arabia, and then ended it with YMCA as he's leaving. I mean, in Saudi Arabia, of all places, the gayest music band ever to be created outside of NSYNC and New Kids on the Block, plays YMCA, the gay national anthem, in Saudi Arabia as they clap along and stand up. They loved him. He had a particular 1 minute and 13 second portion of his speech that was just magnificent. And it really makes you understand why the left hates him so damn much. Listen to this.
In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, you know, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money. You're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do.
Hey, the top right is off. That's a really good point. I was like, what clock is she talking about? Why is it off? That's kind of weird, huh? And I can't believe I got to fix that. I mean, that looks horrible, does it not? I got to do it. You gotta let me do it. I got to fix this. I'm not sure why it's doing it. I'm really glad that you called it out because I don't want that to happen on the show, right? And that's okay. This just takes a second. It's right here. And it's going to be something that has to do with the parameters. So let me just see. The live. Oh. Well, why is it? It's on New York time. There should be no reason why that's broken. Okay, well it was off by 4 hours, so let's do +8, I guess. No, now it's 0400. How about just local? There we go. 1934. Thank you for telling me. So we fixed it. Sorry about that. Good catch, by the way. Thank you, because that would look stupid on the show. So the whole point of this is Donald Trump is off. Okay. You guys are killing me. I think if it was a little lighter, it'd be okay. Okay, there we go. It's off. So Donald Trump, Saudi Arabia, goes in, flies into Saudi Arabia, plays Lee Greenwood, proud to be an American, ends with YMCA, leaves a raucous speech, and just crushes it, and then drops this bomb. Now, a lot of people went after Donald Trump when it came to North Korea, when it came to Iran, when it came to Russia. CJ Jenkins donated 2110. Sorry I missed y'all last night. I hope your technical issues are over. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you, brother. I think the video looks good, don't you? So I'm pretty happy. I think we solved the problem. Excuse me. So there are people who ultimately want to go to war with Iran. There are people who want to go to war with North Korea. And these things are constant. The war machine is always pushing. And the war hawks are always pushing. Well, Donald Trump doesn't want to do that. Now, he pulled out of Syria and got the troops out, and then ultimately left weaponry, slash and burn them behind. But he doesn't have any desire to get into a conflict. Now, I think he will. Thank you, Frank, 1080. Proud to be a contributor. Love y'all. Thank you so much, Frankie. But Syria has always been under the rule of Iran. And if Donald, be good to her, Ash, be nice to Kitty. Thank you. If Donald Trump, now I want you just to think about this for a second. You got Saudi Arabia, who is chomping at the bit to get back into the petrodollar and absolutely loves Trump, right? ADD. Loves Trump, number one. Number two, you've got Israel. You've got Yemen, who has completely backed off with the Houthis. You got Afghanistan, which has not fired off again, which they are not taking care of. Thank you, Joanne Townsend, 1080. You're the best, Joanne. Appreciate you. I appreciate the donations, but I'm like in the middle of my thought. I'm like, so I'm trying. I'm sorry I'm so fragmented because the donations keep interrupting me. Ethan must be on them tonight. You've got Afghanistan, which certainly is oppressing their own people with the Taliban, but it's no longer a world conflict. It's no longer impacting the United States, and we're not spending billions and billions of dollars on this. So you've got Yemen, which is backing off. You have Lebanon with Hezbollah, who have no desire to get involved with the United States and lost all backbone when they saw U.S. forces in the South Med, in the Red Sea, and saw forces stage on the Black Sea and in the Mediterranean, And we're like, no, we don't want this. We've been down this road before. We have no desire. We saw what happened to Libya. So now you've got all these Middle Eastern countries. Then you've got Qatar. You've got the United Arab Emirates. And you've got Kuwait. You've got Iraq. And you've got a lot of Middle Eastern countries with a lot of pull. You've got India and Pakistan. Pakistan has a ton of Muslims. And you're seeing them fly under the Donald Trump flag. But they also know that he has a relationship with Israel. So he pulls back a little bit from Israel and probably told Bibi Netanyahu this and said, we're going to pull back a little. You've got this under control with Gaza. United States, we're going to cool it down. We're going to pull back a little bit. I don't appreciate you ordering or, whatever he says, and he gets into Bibi's face. But this then opens up something in Syria, which the Muslim countries adore Syria, but they don't like Iran. So the IRGC, which is the Iranian Republican Guard Corps, is in Syria, and they are a proxy for Iran. Well, Syria can't do what it needs to do, which is have free trade, build relationships, allow Western, maybe not civilization from a culture perspective, from an economic perspective, to help stabilize Syria, hopefully gets to stop them from killing Christians, and allows that country to catch up with where Saudi Arabia is, where Kuwait is, Iraq is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Donald Trump does this. Now, do I agree with it? I agree with it on the interim. For the very short term. For the long term, we're going to see. And if Syria starts clacking off and doing what they always do, then I'm going to change my tune quicker than, a cummerbund on prom night dropping. But until then, this has a really good and interesting way about it. Listen to this and tell me what you think. And I want you to see the reaction from the Muslim world. This is important. Listen.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness. I will be.
Wow. So you're talking about an American president who goes into a foreign country who supposedly hates Christians and hates America and all this other stuff. And trust me, there is a very large contingency of Muslims who hate the United States, hate the West, hate Jews and everything else. But there's also a very large contingency that doesn't. And the one thing that Muslims have realized that are not extremists is that there's one thing they hate more than their love more than their contempt for the United States and Jews is their love of money. Because they realize that when you're in the middle of a fucking desert, there is nothing like air conditioning and driving in a Mercedes-Benz and having ice at a snap of a fingers versus using a camel in some sort of ceremonial garb that you've been wearing for generations that has every insect known to man that can live in the desert. There's only about 4 residing in your garb and parched. And we see this with places like Kuala Lumpur. We see this places with Bahrain. We see this with Dubai, is amazing metropolises that can come around with Western civilization influence and capitalism. And to see Arabs stand and applaud an American president in a universal sign of ovation, it's very interesting. So, are the Jews going to be pissed? Sure. Well, Israel will be pissed. Netanyahu will be pissed. But that doesn't matter. Should the United States continue to assist and fund Israel's defense? Yes. Because the only reason you're making headway into places that have been exposed by Western civilization, like Saudi Arabia, well, someone just said, Saudi has always been West-leaning. Well, not when it comes socially, maybe fiscally, but they still behead homosexuals in Saudi Arabia. But this is a huge movement because you have shown unequivocal support for Israel, and now you can pull back a little bit and start working on the Abraham Accords. I'm telling you this, if Donald Trump doesn't get 5 Nobel Peace Prizes, I am going to I'm going to be like Sean Hannity. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 632 days since Donald Trump has been ignored about his Nobel Peace Prize. You have United Arab Emirates. You have Egypt. You have, and explain with the Abraham Accords the impact that he has had in the Middle East and relatively maintained these peace treaties that are still in existence today and was this close to getting Saudi Arabia to sign the same before Iran and Hamas decided to attack the Jews on October 7th. And that is why they did it. They didn't do it because of, they were living in an air concentration camp or they were being oppressed by Israel. No, it's that they would launch missiles up into Tel Aviv and Jerusalem constantly and attack from the West Bank and the Golan Heights and Gaza and Syria side and constantly shake, rattle, and roll the hornet's nest and get Israel fired up so they could have legitimate reasons in their eyes to break the accords. Now we have a situation where Donald Trump is literally leading a world summit, a coalition in the Middle East to bring peace. And where do you think these countries are going to go ahead and demonstrate their respect and their deference to? Folks, this is genius, and I'll tell you why. I have been telling you for 3 years that Africa would be where the next world war takes off from. Not if Donald Trump has the Suez, not if Donald Trump owns the Persian Gulf. Not if he creates an alliance in the Middle East where Jews and Muslims, Kurds and Sunnis and Shias can get along, stop killing each other, and embrace Western economy. And hopefully at some point, Western civilization. And stop persecuting Jews and Christians. This is, in my opinion, the absolute antithesis of world peace. This is where world peace begins, is right here. Because if you look at every single major conflict throughout history, there's 2 places they always start, in the Middle East or Europe. And you are going to need those Middle Eastern countries to mass deport the people who have moved into Europe. And this is the next phase, is for Europe to reclaim its country and countries from mass exodus and immigration from Muslim extremists. And this is what Trump will sell. We did it in the United States. We lowered guns. We lowered drugs. Thank you, Bobby. Sorry, late. Hubby stole my card. Love you all. We love you too, Bobby. So you're in a situation where Donald Trump is setting the roadmap for what needs to happen in Europe and other places. And then he can go to Saudi Arabia. He can go to these Muslim countries and say, listen, we now need to move these mass immigrants out of the United States and out of Europe. And you folks need to take and harbor some of this. And in exchange, you will have free trade. We will have peace. The United States will continue its military presence here. And we can all prosper. This is what he's selling to Syria. And Syria is buying it. Now, what happens from here? Well, we don't know. We don't know. We got to stop killing Christians. We've got to stop the endless infighting. But with this is a sign of peace where Donald Trump is leading with peace. And I would much rather have that than the alternative, which is war. And I think everybody else feels the same. Should feel the same.
Years far too many American presidents.
And you may be hesitant, and which I am too, but that doesn't mean that we don't trust but verify. Melanie, can you help with Twitter, please? We're getting killed. Please, please, please. Please, 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 please. Getting destroyed. Usually Twitter crushes. And what's crazy, I have an ad running on Twitter. And I have an ad running on Facebook for the Friday show, and our numbers are low, which is crazy. It is Tuesday. Does happen. Tuesdays are kind of meh. I've got a side-by-side video I want to show you. But first, listen to this.
The DUM Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled out funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix.
Got it, Melanie.
5
Thank you.
hours a month. We believe we're worth that time. And we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or Mail, every bit helps to keep us going. DUM Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
You know, it's interesting. Occasionally, I think our show could use a different segment or two. One of them would be like a video we haven't seen and everyone gets their reaction, or it's viewer submitted, or, you know, I like the game show that we used to do. And I think once we do this show and get the new set, we're going to start doing some things like we're going to have little segments that we're kind of known for. You know, we used to have that on the Nerd Fat podcast back in the day when we ran that, and it was fun. I mean, it was a great show. We had a blast doing the Nerd Fat podcast because it was more relaxed. And I think I want to start doing stuff like that and doing segments. You know how Dana has, like, Dana reads sports. It's great. I mean, we could do something like that for Amy or Olivia, and I think things like that would benefit us. So, Melanie, that's all it took. Thank you. We just jumped up by 40. This is one of those times where a segment would be good. This is a show called Spot On. And I've never seen it. And I guess this gentleman is a gay Republican, which that doesn't matter. But he has some things to say. I need a haircut. I hate it when it starts pushing out from the... Okay, whatever. So, I was told to watch this. I don't know what it's about. This could be somebody who's saying great things about Republicans or bad. I don't know. I want to listen to it. So we're going to listen to together, and we'll get opinions. And I want your opinion. Tell me what you think. Here it is.
No.
Okay, a little quieter than that, big guy. You need to balance your mic, dude.
Day, people ask about my political ideology. What do you stand for? How'd you get this way? That last question, I'll have to unpack 30 years from now in therapy, but I can tell you my political ideology is common sense, which lies predominantly with the Republican Party and President Trump right now. They're on the 80% of all of these 80-20 issues.
Isn't it amazing that people are talking about the 80-20 issues? How long has it been since I've been talking about the 80-20 issues? 16 months? 17 months? Long before the election. And now all of a sudden it's mainstream and everyone's talking about the 80-20 issues. This really pisses me off. Like, I can't tell you how many times. Real quick. Today I had a really cool experience. The guy who's going to work on my desk and hang my doors in the great room and do the backdrop for the show. And he is a master woodsmith, I guess is what you could call him. Carpenter, but he's a woodsmith. And I've seen his work. It's incredible. I mean, and the tables that the desks that this guy does, they're $10,000 for the real nice ones. But he is going to hook us up. And we knew him about 4 years ago, and he would drop off our firewood, and he would sell us the best damn firewood ever. And it smelled fantastic. And if you haven't had pinon firewood, that is the greatest firewood in the world. Predominantly New Mexico. It smells ridiculously good. I mean, it smells amazing. I can't explain it to you. It's like mesquite without the harsh, bitter, acrid smoke. It smells amazing. Anyway, so he would drop off these amazing pieces of wood, oak and redwood and whatever, and then give us some pinon in there. And it was always the greatest fires. Well, I found out he has a shop, and it's a really good shop. And he's got amazing stuff. And anyway, he's like, I just called him out of the blue. And I said, hey, I know you're not delivering our firewood anymore, but I remember you said you do tables, and are you interested in helping us out? And he's like, sure, when you want me to come over. And we've never met, but we always got along. We talked on the phone, and he walks in, and he's 6'4", he's my size, big dude, and he's got a high and tight. And I'm like, this is a Marine, guaranteed. And he walks in, and we shake hands, and we shake like men. And I'm like, okay, this guy's military. And we just hit it off, and great conversation, good dude, and he's like, oh, wow, you're bigger than I thought you'd be. And it's like, thanks. Showed him his concealed carry, showed him my concealed carry, had a conversation. He's like, I'm going to hook you up and take care of you. And I'm like, I'll tell everyone all about you. And he's just a really nice guy. His name's Matt. We're going to go to his shop on Friday, and he's going to build us an amazing podcast desk for 4 people, do our backdrop. He's just an amazing human being. And the reason I say that is because I hear all the time from people on YouTube, especially, why isn't your show, and Rumble, why isn't your show just completely just blown up? Why is it not just going absolute viral every night? And the reason is because it's hard in this business. It's not easy. And you are competing for so much space and so little time. Remember, there's millions of people out there, but a very large portion of those millions are already accounted for and have something to do, and they only have 24 hours in the day. So it's not the limitation of people, it's the limitation of time in the day that people can watch. So market share is a constant ebb and flow, and it requires very big interaction cycles to make it happen. For instance, Friday hopefully will be one of those cycles. People will see Roseanne Barr live, and they'll stop and watch. But when they come on and they see me, they go, I don't know who this guy is. I'm going to listen to him for 1 minute. And if I don't connect with this guy, I'm going to leave. And that is what happens. So the reason I brought that up completely is there are people out there who have amazing opinions, who have a lot to contribute, who we don't give the time of day to because of their political affiliation. And I'm telling you, I have learned a ton from listening to the other side of the aisle, so to speak. So no matter who this guy is or what he's about to say, I'm going to do my best to take something away from it, no matter how critical I can be. And I suggest we all do the same.
I don't want men and women's sports. I don't want MS-13 gang members running amok on our streets, taking over apartment complexes. I don't want a repeat of Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungari, who are brutally murdered by illegal migrant criminals. Even Bill Clinton said back in 1995, we are a nation of immigrants, but we're also a nation of laws. Democrats used to want secure borders. They would have never allowed men and women's sports, but they've gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs the last 10 years. It's insane. And there's one clip going viral right now that really makes my blood boil, and it encapsulates why I could never identify with the Democrat Party today. This is Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy when asked by New York Times columnist Ross Douthat about men and women's sports. Take a look.
I don't have any fear of transgender athletes participating in sports, but
wait, just so you don't have any fear of it. Do you think it's if you had a daughter competing against a biological male, would you find it unfair?
I don't have girls, right? So I necessarily can't, right? I can't put myself in that position.
Have some empathy, right, for those of us who do, right? So would you find it unfair?
I mean, I've talked to lots of parents of girls in Connecticut who do not think it's unfair, and who think that the benefits that those athletes get from being part of a team is important, and they don't mind or feel threatened by the competition. I think everybody can come to their own conclusion, but
your conclusion is the official line of liberalism right now. It's just you're saying you don't.
Yes, my conclusion is that I would support those athletes being able to participate in my community, right? In my community, but I would not substitute.
Isn't that interesting that the de facto state of readiness for all liberals is to remove and specifically focus on individual rights when it comes to their own experience, but are espousing from the top of the roof that a national policy, a collectivism mandate should be established with legislation to ensure that all transgender people are allowed to be in women's sports or vice versa. Isn't that interesting? When it comes to their own individual opinions and experiences, they side on the air of caution. But most importantly, what our founders believed, which is the individual right trumps collectivism, which is a Republican trait. That's what falls into limited government. That's what falls into individual rights are always more paramount than the collective right. That's why the state governments and the individual states, no matter what their GDP is, what their population is, what their imports, exports are, what their tourism board looks like, what their demographic makeup is, sexual disposition, race, color, creed, or anything in between, it comes down to that they have an equal voice based upon the constituents within that state. Isn't that funny that Murphy, when cornered without a child, errs on the side of individualism? That's not the Democrat policy. His policy is I would be okay with it. In my community, versus saying that everyone should be okay with it in every community, because that's the Democrat talking point. And I'm hoping that this lovely gentleman with the amazing Edward eyes after he feeds on a deer, the amber-colored eyes, I believe that's the start when he's hungry, they become red. Is that what that stupid book shows in Twilight? And then amber gold color when he's properly fed. He has Edward eyes. I hope he points it out.
My judgment and my community's judgment for another community's judgment.
That clip makes my skin crawl. Chris Murphy, Hakeem Jeffries, Tim Walz, Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer.
Say it.
You're all a bunch of beta male bitch boys who can't defend women.
Say it.
There should be no stuttering. This isn't Joe Biden in a debate.
Yes.
It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
These men who preach about feminism and DEI are liars and hypocrites. If you can't condemn men and women's sports, then you're a neutered man with no principles. Senator Murphy and all his elite Democrat friends in DC are fine with women getting beat up on the volleyball court and losing out on trophies and scholarships. Basically, young women, what they're telling you is, it doesn't matter if you train hard, get up at 4 a.m. every day, a man can come along and take all that you worked for at the last minute. And if you speak up, you're transphobic, you're bigoted. You just need to deal with it, ladies, and be uncomfortable. Now, I want all the women to know, the moms, the grandmas, the dads too. I will go to the mat on this issue. It's an issue that kicked off my career in commentary and politics years ago. And I want these men in the Democrat Party to listen closely. I'm going to have my foot on your necks every day over this issue. I'll be here on this show, on social media, I'll be here in the midterms and in 2028 until you defend women and stop dancing around their safety and security. I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I'm just getting started. I will be a thorn in your side until you have the balls to put your foot down and say enough. No woman should have to feel uncomfortable on her sports team or in the locker room ever again.
Okay. I still would have focused on individualism and brought it back to the Constitution of the United States, but that's good enough. It's fantastic. Smart guy, intelligent, well put together, articulate. He's got a bright future. It's got a great looking backdrop. Too simple for my taste. I like a little more complicated. Very intelligent. I like him. I agree with everything he said. I even like that he got a little sassy pants, you know, drop some balls and gonna be on your ass. I don't know if that's a euphemism. He did say he was gay. But I like him. Great. He also looks like Draco Malfoy a little bit, but Edward eyes. Thought I'd let you know. It's good stuff. Spot On is the show. Watch it. I guess he was on Megyn Kelly. Somebody said. Amen. It's good stuff. I still want him to focus on individualism because the hypocrisy is you can go after the platform of what Murphy is espousing, but I would question his core values in this case. And I wish that he was cross-examining Murphy at this time because I simply would have said, wow, you sound like a Republican. That you're saying that women in sports should be decided by the local community and it should be on an individual basis. Is that what you're saying? So essentially, you're a 10th Amendment supporter, the reserve powers to the states. That's what you're saying. Darla says he didn't need to use nasty language. Darla, I use nasty language. I don't care anymore. Megyn Kelly uses nasty language. Tucker Carlson uses nasty language. And all of them are a bunch of posers because I've been doing it forever and I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. We all know what the words are, and damn it, we should be a little frustrated from time to time. We should get upset from time to time. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. He's got a potty mouth. I'll tell him to stop. Naughty, naughty. This is a video. People were talking, and we were talking about Saudi Arabia, but I want you to watch this because this is insane. Trump coming in.
The DUM Show.
Sorry. Trump coming in on the white stallions. And there are more American flags here in Saudi Arabia than I've ever seen at any Democrat convention or rally or anything else. Is that not awesome? I just like Arabian Nights. Look at that. Isn't that badass? The Beast, man. Just, it's like Knight Rider. How cool is that, right? More respect for our country than liberals. Saudis. Who would have thunk? Look at those sheiks. Look at that. That's crazy. Look at that. I even bought some of my coffee. Nice. It's awesome. Come on. The man can make an entrance. Seriously. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Thanks, everybody, for sharing. Got a bunch of people over on Twitter who are liking the Friday show. Welcome to the show. I know a lot of you are new because there's some advertising going on Twitter, and I haven't advertised on Twitter ever. And I have stopped all advertising, at least for a year and a half, on Facebook. But welcome. If this is your new venture to the show, Friday night, we will have a bunch of great people. Unfortunately, Leroy is not here tonight because I gave him the night off because Friday is going to be awesome. Somebody asked, I think it was Bobby, will Leroy and Amy, Olivia and I be on the whole time? No, we're going to take some segments and breaks. And I don't want to take 5 hours of their time. If they want to be here, they can, but we're probably going to break it up a little bit. So that's it. Could we turn off that light, Hayden? Thanks, honey. So yeah, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and I will all be here, of course, but it's going to be, we're going to break it up into segments. I don't want to overwhelm the guests. So I have a question for AOC. Who exactly does she want out of the ICE camps and detention centers? Yes, I saw the fighter jet escort. Yes. Because the last thing the Sauds want if Air Force One goes down in their airspace, that's not good. Who does AOC want out of these ICE detention centers, considering it's rapists and MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and drug dealers and gangland style shootings and murders? Who does she want out? I don't know. Let's find out.
So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has deemed it necessary for her to interject herself.
Good night, Darla. I hope you're not leaving because my potty language. We love you.
In an issue that would seem to have nothing to do with her district. And she's warning y'all, don't mess with the Democrat members of Congress. Listen to what she said.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Oh, you be a bad girl. You put me in my place, AOC. I deserve a spanking. I've been a bad boy.
A problem.
Well, the problem would seem to be that those people may have been laying fingers or at least body slamming federal agents who were there. What do you say to the good Congresswoman?
I'd like to ask AOC, who does she want out of that detention facility?
Right,
Is it the MS-13 members? Is it the known terrorists? Is it the child rapists? Is it the murderers? Who is she fighting for? Because she's not fighting for Americans. She's not fighting for American victims. And I'd like to lay out the facts. The fact that it was these 3 members of Congress who trespassed, broke the law, and stormed that ICE detention facility. They put law enforcement at risk. They put our detainees at risk, and they put our staff at risk. Had they asked for a tour, we would have happily facilitated one for them, but there was absolutely no notice. And the fact that they put hands, they body slammed, body rammed, push, shove, whatever you want to call it, it was assault on our ICE agents, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's pretty much clear to me. By the way, AOC, send nudes. Listen, folks, she's dumb as dog shit, but she's hot. Just saying. She's hot. Tom Tillis is back in the news. First, he tanks Ed Martin's nomination, now comes out against President Trump's executive order to lower prescription drug prices.
Sustainable measures that are not going to produce.
Literally, is this guy just, did he have a seance with John McCain and just re-embody the spirit of John McCain? I mean, what the hell? One falls and one comes up. These people are like literally herpes. They're the gift that keeps on giving. I can't stand these people. Tom Tillis, the emulserated grandpa, the angry grandpa. Get off my lawn. What did they just get to a certain age where just Matlock episodes and tapioca no longer do it for them and they just have to basically oppose their own party? What the fuck is wrong with these people? Yes, I cussed. I don't care. Joseph says, put a finger in your butt, AOC. Kinky. Shirley Fullen says, effing bitch. No, she's not. Yes, she is, Full. Yes, she is, Shirley. She's stupid. She's dumb as dog shit, but she's hot. I'm sorry. Shirley, you don't have to agree with me. I don't care. I don't care. She is she's as smart as a bag of rocks, but most guys will agree she's not ugly. Can we just all agree on that? Just please. Please. If she's like Britney Spears, just put her on mute. Shirley, don't get upset. Don't get upset. It's kind of a running joke on this show, okay? Here's Tom Tillis. Now, wants to go up against prescription drug pricing by having international pricing for the United States, which basically means that if one country pays the lowest price, we get the lowest price. That's the way it works.
We fixed.
Shirley, I don't care that you don't care. Okay, whatever, Shirley. You're just looking for a fight. I've already done it. I've already had a bad enough week. You're right. I'm a horrible human being. I'm sorry I said anything, Shirley. Jesus Christ.
We fix the value chain and how we ultimately address this problem. The most favored nation coming out of the administration, all these other things are short-sighted, unsustainable measures that are not going to produce the result I do believe all of us on this committee want to achieve. It's not the what, but we've got a very wide range of different. We fix the value chain and how we ultimately address this problem.
Listen to it again.
The most favored nation coming out of the administration, all these other things are short-sighted, unsustainable measures that are not going to produce the result I do believe all of us on this committee want to achieve. It's not the what, but we've got a very wide range of different.
So once again, the typical thing that takes place is you don't have any ideas. You don't have any policies that are your own. You don't come up with anything, not even a modicum of scratching an idea. And you have Donald Trump, who has been running on this, talking about having multi-state solutions, TRICARE for states competing for prescription drugs and health insurance wants to do a First Nation approach and a nationalized pricing from a global perspective in an effort to drive down prices. Now, yes, this may in the short term, just like tariffs, cause some pain. But I think Americans are willing to do that in order to be competitive in the United States for drug prices. Okay? Maybe that's not a bad thing. This is the man who literally, okay, take a look at the Trump or the Biden administration. Let's just look at this and try to have a holistic perspective, Tom Tillis, Mr. Grumpy Fudd Pucker. Tariffs. Worst thing ever. It's causing farmers their jobs. Steel workers are losing because we're forcing China to actually bring in decent steel into the United States and not dump their shitty steel on us. It's going to destroy America. We're going to lose American jobs. The Biden administration kept the tariffs in place against China. Oh, well, wait a second. I thought they were bad. Let's take a look at the border. Open border. Millions cross. The worst numbers we've seen ever. Fentanyl deaths increase. Migrant cities are being overwhelmed with sanctuary cities. We have Eric Adams in New York, the biggest lefty of them all, says, I can't take anymore. I need you to do something about this. What does he say? I need more money. I need more legislation. What does he do in the last 3 months of the election before he resigned and went out in a disgraced mess and gave it to Kamala? He wanted to impose Remain in Mexico. He wanted to go ahead and put Trump's strategies back in place to lock down the border because they knew they were going to lose the election over this. Well, if those policies are so bad, why'd you do it? Look at energy independence. He bled the oil reserves. He went and cried to Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, and begged for oil. They all told him to go piss up a rope. So what does he do? He releases the leases on the land and actually ensures that the half-drained wells and the far-to-reach wells that don't give a lot of margin, that those are actually removed from those leases, and they're for free-for-alls, so the main new taps can be hit before those are depleted, ultimately giving Texas and other oil-rich states the capabilities to drill where they need to, where the oil is. We start seeing production go up. We start dependency lessens from an international standpoint, and energy prices stabilize. Wow. I thought those were bad. Here we are again. Look at the diabetes medication. 2018, Trump passes it. Diabetes went from like $349 for insulin to it was capped at like $25 for insulin. What did Biden do? He let those 98 different medications lapse and then just slapped a new name on it and then passed the bill. Well, we just did the same thing. And what are they saying? Oh, you just let it lapse and you slapped the name on it. No, we put Trump's policies back in place. This is what Democrats do. They know what works, but they have to oppose everything Trump says. So when it comes to medicine, Shirley, I know you're not mad at me. I'm not gonna lose a viewer because I upset you with what I say. So I've just learned not to communicate. So I just go, whatever, fuck, it's over. Because I'm going to say something stupid. I don't know if you're serious or not. I can't tell. So AOC is hot, okay? She has brown hair, brown eyes, and olive skin. And that is my MO for recipe. I don't care if anyone likes that or not. I have a beautiful wife who's 10 times the looker of AOC. I'm just letting you know I think she's hot. That's all. Sorry, she's smoking. So's Laura Boebert, but she's a bag of rocks too, but she's hot. I can say that. What comes out of her mouth? Well, I don't know. I know what goes in from what I've heard, but I'm not a fan of her intellect either, but I can say she's hot. Okay? All right. Tillis is a twat waffle. And now he sounds like a liberal. Well, since this isn't the greatest idea and I don't agree with it, let's do nothing instead. I'm telling you, if these people had a great idea and it sat on their face, they wouldn't be able to see it. And the reason why is because the midterms are coming up. And if you asshats don't start passing legislation, you're going to lose the House. You should be lockstep with Trump. Look at his record for winning. The guy's winning on everything. Look at the stock market. I thought there was a recession. Look at eggs. Did you guys just see inflation went down? It's the lowest it's been since 2021. Since Biden got in, inflation's the lowest it's been. The guy can't lose. Just leave him alone. Let him cook. I don't care if you get upset. I don't care if your panties get in a twist. Your panties get in a twist and your knickers get in a bunch. Or was it your panties in a bunch and your knickers in a twist? I'm a handsome robe. It doesn't matter. Leave him alone. Let him cook. They just gave us a $450 million jet. Everyone's like, it's not made in America. It's Boeing, you tards. It's Boeing. It's an American company. What do you want? Just let the man cook. He's got this. Joe Biden is getting a colonoscopy because he's got a nodule on his prostate. That's his news for the week. That's what Biden's doing. And his wife has to hold his hand and tell you why he was really alert and astute and could answer anything you wanted by taking over for him, holding his hand and not letting him answer anything. Give me a break. Just let Trump cook. He's got this. Now he's going to pull back from Israel. And everyone's going to be, oh my God, he hates the Jews. No, he doesn't. He just can't be so pro-Israel. He's got to pull back a little bit. He's got to make sure Israel stays in line. Israel doesn't get too big for their britches. See, Israel thinks they can take on the entire Muslim world, and they probably can. But what they can't do is take on the Muslim world without the Americans. And just like Zelensky, Trump doesn't want to look like a hypocrite. And what Zelensky did, hold on. Let me see what this says. Hold on. Oh, sorry. I had a message. I thought it was good. So just let the man cook. Just leave him alone. He knows what he's doing. We'll be right back.
The DUM Show is built on real conversations.
Tiffany, feet pics. You don't want pictures of my feet. I don't understand what you want. You don't want pictures. Ladies, please. I have so many other admirable qualities. Okay, but feet is definitely not one of them. Those dogs are ugly. My arches look like the Appalachians. I mean, literally, it's like toes, arch, down, heel. They're ugly. I mean, they look like. Do you remember in Scary Movie where Chris Elliott in his hand was like, those are my feet. They're clodhoppers. Yeah, they're not good. Mm-mm.
Raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time. And we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or Mail, every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
All right, I told you. Pretty bad. I can love the thumb foot. You're not getting feet pics. Not the way it works. I don't know. We're not doing that. Nope. Not going to happen, folks. Did I see Trump reaction? Yeah, we're going to cover it. Here is Schumer. He's going to head to the U.S. Senate, folks, and he's going to tell them right now to announce that I'm placing a hold on all political DOJ appointments until we get answers on Trump's corrupt Qatari plane deal. Give me a break, dude. Schumer, shut up. You know what? The hypocrisy with these guys. I can't stand them. Here are some clips that I thought you would enjoy. The first one is Jake Tapper. Then let's do Schumer first, because this is Schumer, who was in the same outfit, literally minutes after he's going to go to the Senate. He's on CNN. you know? Oh, I'm sorry, Joanne. That sucks. That's a lot of money. That's horrible. Here's Schumer, minutes after he's supposed to be at the Senate. No more political appointments, and then he's on CNN. What a douche. I can't stand this guy. Listen to this.
I really do want to ask you about something that has been breaking out of CNN, our Jake Tapper and Alex.
Watch how this guy will not answer. It's like literally, if he went on Jeopardy, it would single-handedly be the longest episode in history of Jeopardy. Watch this.
Thompson have written a book called Original Sin, and they call it a cover-up of Biden's health and his cognition and his fitness, quite frankly, to be president of the United States. You sat next to Biden in the Oval Office February 27th, 2024, just a handful of months before the president took that debate stage. And it was later reported that you and other Democratic leaders were talking before the debate about having a plan. You and Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama. I understand you later denied that that ever happened. But I am curious, I'm interested to know whether the man that you saw sitting there on that couch on that day, you were in there, you saw him up close and personal. Did you really not have any idea that he was not fit to serve a second term?
Casey, we're looking forward. We have the largest Medicaid cut in front of us. We have the whole federal
you're
government
facing all
at
of this
risk.
because you lost a presidential election. And
Well,
is that not Joe Biden's responsibility for deciding to run again?
We're looking forward.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Senator Chuck Schumer, I know you got to go. I appreciate your time.
Wow. Real hard-hitting lady. You know what I would say? You know what, Schumer? Here's the thing. Until you answer that question, you're not allowed back on CNN. So good luck in the midterms. Good luck with fundraising. We deserve an answer to that question. You know what? Why do you fucking allow these people to control your show? This is why I will never make it big, because I will not allow people like that to go off the hook. That is my dream one day, literally to have 10 million people watch my show, to have an audience like Hannity or an audience like Bongino and bring one of these pricks on, Republican or Democrat, and say, what do you mean you're not going to answer the question? You're not going to answer the question? Fine, you're never coming back on my show again. And I'm going to talk to everyone in my network, and I'm going to talk to every single influencer that I know to ensure that you get no airtime because you're a coward. And I don't think cowards should be Senate minority leaders or majority leaders. So you put that in your pipe and smoke it, you prick. But here is the entire media, the billion-dollar machine carrying water for Joe Biden because he can't hold his own. Listen to this.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no I can't. This is so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
a cognitive decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right? Right. More so? Right. Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him.
Exactly. I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster. Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, you know, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower? No. The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff.
Wow. This is a great segue into It just baffles me how these people still have jobs. You know, it really baffles me. Folks, if everybody donated $5 right now, we would hit goal. We have a total of 150 on our legacy social media and another 100 people on Rumble and Wimkin combined. That's $250. $5 gets us 12 something. If that's incredible. $1 a piece means we crush goal. $350. $350. That's incredible. $1. Is it worth it? I don't know. You got to ask yourself the question: is your show worth $1 of your time? Is it worth $5? Is it worth $10? Is it worth $20? Is it worth $100? I don't know. You got to ask that. But I'll tell you what, we got to hit the goal. So if you have the ability, please help us out by going to thedumshow.com/donate. Every donation is appreciated. Every donation means something. And if you are not in a position to donate, don't do it. We're going to be fine. We will survive. Want to make sure you're good. Put your own oxygen on first. Once that happens, if you say, hey, you know, I've got a few dollars here, a few dollars there, help us out. This video makes some very good points about the multi-billion-dollar industry that is the legacy media and kind of puts the bow on the video we just last watched.
The person who just is intent on hating Trump, those people are now like grasping straws trying to defend their positions. You motherfuckers are wrong. You were wrong the whole time. What time are you going to step back and examine your worldview and say, fuck, I got fucking played? Because that's what happened. You are the
I apologize for the language. I didn't know this was that bad. Apologize.
Victim of a multi-trillion-dollar propaganda initiative, the biggest that's ever been created in the history of humankind, and you don't have the intelligence to understand what's actually happening, and because you don't have the intelligence, you lack the perspective to say, fuck, I'm the one that they were aiming that at. I'm the exact person that they wanted to fool, and here I am being their soldier out in the street, doing all this work. I'm a clown.
It's a very good point for a couple of reasons, but minus the language, and it doesn't.
What is going on?
Me.
Don't Unfriend Me Nation.
That
Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me.
Does not offend me when people cuss, and they're just trying to accentuate their point. Where I come from, mother's a half a word, but my problem is I think we can all agree on one thing: that the left lies to the left, and the right lies to the right, and they both lie to each other. Is that fair? I think everyone agrees. One second.
The person who just is intent on hating.
Shut up. California judge has reduced the Menendez brothers' murder sentences, making them eligible for parole. You suckers, California. Those kids should spend the rest of their lives in jail and rot to death. Unbelievable. Here's the thing. Why are we carrying water for the media? This is why we don't repeat and regurgitate processed mainstream media on this show. Thank you, Kev. We appreciate you, buddy. $10.80. Thanks, brother. We try to go ahead and report the news to the best of our ability, and we don't just sit here and recite exactly what somebody else says. We don't try to do that. There are occasions where we do it. But just the polls alone, you've been lied to. Why doesn't someone do an audit of where they actually got this data of Hillary Clinton mopping the floor by 21 points with Donald Trump a week ago? Why? Why aren't people fired? Why are the same people on TV in 2016 the same ones in 2020 and 2024 and will be there in 2026 and 2028? Why? Why are we listening to these people? Why do you even watch the news? Do you know that I watch Fox News twice? Dana Perino watched that in the morning for 10 minutes while I eat my breakfast. And then I watch the 5 for 10 minutes while I eat dinner. And then I go to work. Why do we listen to these people? And when are we going to realize that they are simply the mouthpiece of the U.S. government and all the elected officials? Here's Donald Trump pushing back on the media in regards to the plane. Thank you, JD. Less than 72 hours till the big time. Thanks for the show. You got it, buddy. Thanks for helping us. We appreciate you. Folks, that puts us at 131.14. That puts us at about 170 shy of our goal. That's a big number to make up in 27 minutes. Let's hope we do it. Need some help. So help us out if you can. Donald Trump pushes back on the media when it comes to the big, giant, beautiful plane from Qatar or Qatar.
These planes, the plane that you're on right now is almost 40 years old. And when you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and you see all these, and they have these brand new Boeing 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it, this is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller, it's much less impressive as it is. And, you know, we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane. So anyway, so they said to me, we would like to, in effect, we would like to make a gift. You've done so many things, and we'd like to make a gift to the Defense Department, which is where it's going. And I said, well, that's nice. Now, some people say, oh, you shouldn't accept gifts for the country. My attitude is, why wouldn't I accept the gift? We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept the gift? Because it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before the Boeings are finished. And they'll be wonderful when they're finished.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, Matt, but it's Qatar, and they support terrorists. Yes, you're absolutely right. They do. And we still gave billions of dollars to Iran. We still gave appeasement money to North Korea. Thank you, Amy. Give me my $2. I want my $2. We gave money to Syria. We gave money to the Congo. We give money to everybody. And if we were to no longer communicate with countries simply because they did things that we didn't like or did things that harmed Americans, well, there's nobody to talk to, including the English. So let's bomb the UK. 1786 wasn't good enough. We didn't drive the point home. Let's nuke them. Germany, sounds good. Maybe we can kill the Japanese tomorrow, too. Joseph Hillstrom donated 1080. Matt, I think I like you solo on the show, not in a gay way. Well, honey joke, brother. Okay. I'm not sending you pics of my feet. I don't know what we're talking about. Everything. Listen, Jessica, I know 3 people on the security team and the head of security for Air Force One. Every single nut and bolt of that plane will be taken apart and put back together and quality assured or replaced. Yes. Yes. That's the way this works. Rikers Island is now a federal prison? Huh? Rikers Island's a federal prison. What happened? Thank you, everybody, for all your donations coming in. This is great. I see them all. They're going to be up in a second. Here you go.
Getting ICE officers back in Rikers is meaningful because we agree that, you know, the worst of the worst, the firearms violations, the murders, the kidnappers, the rapists, you know, will come to our attention, term release, we can grab them. But I've made it clear, I want everybody. If you're an illegal alien, you get booked in Rikers Island, I don't care if it's for shoplifting. I want them. So this is a start to deal with the worst of the worst in the beginning, but I made it clear that I plan on the whole of them. I want everybody. So we're going to work toward that. We agreed to some other things I'm not going to discuss on national TV because I don't want the city council to know what I'm doing. City council is fighting the mayor and everything. So let's surprise them on what we're coming to the table with and let them sue me. Bring it, because I'm done. I'm not running a popularity contest. I came to New York to get meaningful action. We got a lot of words. The last meeting I had, today I came, I want action, I want a plan, and we're leaving with a partial plan, but I'll come back every week if I have to until we finish this plan. But it's a good first step to get back on Rikers Island. That's a game changer.
Rikers Island, officially federal prison. Now Washington, D.C. is in charge. I'm sure they're going to throw it to a judge and try to go ahead and turn it over. But Eric Adams, I don't know what Hochul has said. I really don't care. But Rikers Island is officially a federal prison again, and good. Good for Tom Homan. Anything to scare these pricks, anything to put them in the hardest. I mean, I'd open up Leavenworth. This is great news. Good. Now Adams has a place that he can put illegal criminals. And he may be a sanctuary city according to Democrat law. But now that it's a federal prison, they can be charged with federal crimes and stick them in Rikers. Great. Sounds good to me. Listen, if you want to come to this country, that's totally cool. I'm open for it. You want to break the law? You want to jump the border? Fine. We're now getting space for all you. So keep it up. No problem. Who cares? I don't. Nobody else should either. I'm sick of it. Get here the right way or don't come here at all. Eli Crane had some great things to say. We'll hear about it in a sec.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at WimKen.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
Barbara Stewart donated $25. Perfect timing on that donation. Smiley emoji with sunglasses. Thank you so much, Barbara. We appreciate it. That puts us at $168.94, and I know we have a whole bunch more coming through. So we'll take a second and let those get through so we can get caught up because people are going crazy. This Friday show is going to be awesome. I am so excited for this, folks. We've already received a couple donations from people. If you're going to send a mail-in donation, now is the time. We're going to cut that off on Thursday afternoon. Will be the last time we go to the P.O. box. If you send it tomorrow morning, it may arrive, and send us an email. We'll do what we can. We like to have that in hand because, you know, somebody's putting up a lot of money to match. But we're going to have some great prizes to give away. We're going to have an autograph book by T.S. Dixon. I'm going to see if $5 from Joanne Townsend. Thank you so much. I'm going to see if Barry might donate a photo shoot at one of his places and see if he'll donate that. That would be awesome. Give that away. We want to give away a Don't Tread flag signed by Frank Ozgeist, one of the surviving members of the Benghazi scandal and event that happened September 2011. What else? I think we're going to give away a dumb jacket too. Maybe some Wimkin gear, things like that. But I've covered South Africa. I've got some other stuff. But first, let me go ahead and have you guys listen to friend of the show, Eli Crane, talking about what his position is when it comes to rural communities, comes to his constituents as a state legislature, and not getting caught up into all
today
the,
to speak in favor of my
all the rigmarole, right? And focus on what he was sent to Washington for. It's a really good video, and it's one of the reasons why we love Eli here. Here it is.
I rise today to speak in favor of my bill, the Apache County and Navajo County Conveyance Act of 2025. This legislation would transfer federal land currently under the purview of the U.S. Forest Service to Navajo and Apache counties. For more than a decade, the communities of Pinedale and Alpine have struggled to find appropriate cemetery space to meet the needs of their family members wishing to enter and pay respects to their loved ones. My bill would expand the land adjacent to the Alpine Community Cemetery, preventing the need for members of the community to be laid to rest in a distant cemetery. These communities have storied histories dating back to the pioneers, and they deserve to lay their loved ones to rest in the place that means so much to them. My primary objective as a public official is to remain principled and effective for the district that I represent, ensuring that rural communities are not forgotten by the federal government. I appreciate Chairman Westerman, Navajo County Supervisor Seymour, and Apache County Supervisor Nelson, and also my colleagues on the other side for their support and for their leadership. And I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support this sensible solution. Thank you, and I yield the balance of my time.
Okay, what does that have to do with us on a national perspective? What does that have to do with the people watching Don't Unfriend Me? What does that have to do with you locally? Abso-fucking-lutely nothing, and that's the way it should be. Eli Crane is doing what he should do. He worked on the Butler shootings. He's worked on those task force. He's been a staunch conservative, and he has been an outspoken voice in the Freedom Caucus. He's done his job. And now he's out there doing his job for his constituents, because that's what his job is. It's not to be on Fox News. It's not to go ahead and panhandle for fundraising. It's not to go ahead and do the bidding of political action committees. He's out there proposing legislation to move forward and represent his constituents. And sorry, we're trying to find a donation that popped up, and I hold on, I got to take a second. I don't know, something weird. Sorry, I just saw a donation come across that disappeared. I don't know where it went. But I thought it came from... Sorry, folks, hold on. Olivia! 1 second, folks. Sorry, guys, hang tight. Come here, bud. It's right here. Tell her, go into PayPal and take a look. Last name's Moody. Sorry, folks, almost done. Brian, did you just donate? It says you did. Am I wrong on this? Folks, I'm so sorry for the silent here. We're trying to figure this out. And I don't want to miss a donation. All right, we'll find it. Brian, let me know if you did, man. Just send me a quick email. I know you've got my personal email. Let me know. Okay, thanks, buddy. Because I'm seeing that you did, but for some reason Olivia can't see it, and I'm looking at it. Okay, no, we haven't lost anything. I'm reading, folks. Sorry. Okay, Eli Crane. Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
And similarly, Elon Musk.
He's doing his job. And that's the reason I'm showing you that. It has nothing else to do with anything other than he's doing his job for his constituents, period. And that's the way it should be. And I think we forget sometimes, and we want them to come up and espouse these wonderful talking points and, you know, tell us what they think about liberals. You know what? Get up there, pass legislation, propose legislation, get a bill forwarded, figure it out. What's up? Brian, do you want me to forward that for Friday's show or put it in now? Just put it in now, and that's going to be the easiest thing. And because he says if I can't make it on Friday, but let's put it in for now, and then he'll let us know. Okay, great. Okay, sorry, folks, we had something to deal with. People, some people are donating now, and we're really hoping you guys wait till Friday because that's so everything you can kind of go. And if you want to do it first thing in the morning on Friday, do it, and we will count it for the big show. All right, this comes down to Dre's video, the Heil Hitler video. And here it is. Listen to this.
I thought about this a lot.
Can I jump in here?
Well, hang on a sec, Brandon. Jack, what I would say to that is there are limits to freedom of speech. I mean, the First Amendment is one of the most ferocious defenders of free speech in the world, but there are a number of limits built into the First Amendment, things you can't do.
I know it says Brain, but it's Brian. I'm sorry, Brian. Mr. Moody, in case I was unable to make it Friday, we're going to put that in for today. Brian, just let me know. If you want me to move it, we'll move it. But we do appreciate you, and thank you so much for that.
You are afforded protection by the First Amendment. And similarly, Elon Musk, who's a brilliant, ferocious defender of free speech, has made, I think, X a much fairer platform by undeplatforming a lot of conservative voices and so on. But I found out in his first year, they suspended 5 million accounts for breaches of their own rules. And then I worked out that Ye West or whatever he wants to call himself, had breached multiple times on a daily basis exactly the same rules, but the rules weren't being applied to him. And what's dangerous about that is that he's not just saying he doesn't like Jewish people, he's actively encouraging 33 million people to treat Jewish people like slaves, his quote, to whip them, his quote, and so on. And never mind all the disgusting stuff he's been saying about his ex-wife or about Paris Hilton or about whoever it may be. He spews abusive stuff all day long. But the specific direction...
Piers, shut up and let Tatum talk.
...to his followers, to treat Jewish people like slaves or to whip them, that surely is not an issue of free speech. That is a clear example of incitement to racial hatred, and he should be removed from the ability to amplify that to 33 million people, shouldn't he?
Well, if that's the case, I guess I would say, you can go on Spotify right now and type in any sorts of topics and find all sorts of horrific things. You can see incitement to violence against women across all sorts of songs on Spotify. You can find anti-Semitism all over Spotify. You can find things where, kill the police and F the police and all this stuff all over the place when it's law enforcement, et cetera, et cetera. So the question that I have is, where do we draw the line? Now, for myself, by the way, again, coming from a traditional Catholic perspective, we have issues. For example, I'm not going to go into the church and play a song that supports same-sex marriage or the LGBT community or abortion or all of these things, because that would be proscribed in the Catholic faith. We consider all of those activities to be sinful. So the question is, whose morality, I guess, are we actually using?
Yeah, but what if somebody tweets? Okay, but what if somebody? Okay, but Jack, hang on. Yeah, but Jack, what if somebody posted?
See, what if? Okay, I listen. I've been getting a little shit from people on Rumble and YouTube because there's a lot of anti-Semitism on. You say Jew anything, and it doesn't have, an ooey at the end of it, and immediately you're a Zionist. So this is to you fuckers. You people suck. I dealt with you guys in high school. We used to beat the shit out of you clowns in high school. I have no desire to do it now as a 51-year-old man. But I will tell you this. Ye has every right to write that song. And the reason I said he needed a muzzle and remedial history is because he should shut up until he reads a book. Ye should shut up because he's looking like a moron. That's what I said. I didn't say he should shut up because I want to censor free speech. He's looking like a fucking idiot. And he's nuts. He's a moron. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's an idiot. And I've proven that, let alone in that video and every other time. But he has every right to say what he just said. Thank you so much, Joseph. Just to add a little more to goal. Thanks, buddy. He has every right to say it. There is no limit on speech. Here's the thing. If you want to go in and say fire in a theater, you actually can. There's no rule about saying it. The rule applies after you say it. If you go into a theater and mumble under your breath, fire, and nothing happens, nothing's going to happen. If you go in and yell fire and everybody exits and stampedes each other and people get hurt and die or whatever, if so much as a fingernail gets ripped, you're in trouble. I don't care that Ye says, nigga Heil Hitler. Good for him. He's a moron. But Jack Posobiec, once again, I find myself just absolutely loving Jack Posobiec because he's right. You can go and you can go look up Sam Smith, who's showing devotion to Satan. You can hear songs about talking about sleeping with underage kids. You can hear anti-Jew, anti-Muslim, anti-black, anti-white songs. You can hear fuck the police. You can talk about raping women and dealing drugs, killing the president of the United States, Snoop Dogg. All of that stuff is completely fine. And yes, Kanye West should be able to say nigga Heil Hitler. Yes. And you should play it on Spotify. And if you don't want to listen to it, that is you exercising your speech. Those are your First Amendment rights. And it was my First Amendment rights to call him a fucking retard, because he is. Kanye West is a dipshit. He's a conspiracy-laden, completely deranged, narcissistic, delusional parasite. And honestly, He should be muzzled because he's dumb for his own benefit, just like Britney should be muzzled. There are plenty of people who shouldn't speak, but that's my opinion. And I have the right to say it. So all you little pearl clutching fucking soy boys out there who are like, oh, Ye is an intellectual giant and he's transcending the depths of universal contemplation beset by paradox. His message is too deep for you. Really? I could literally scrape his message off my shoe. I could find it in a Cracker Jack box. I give a shit what people like Nick Fuentes and Kanye West and Jake Shields and Stu Peters say. I could literally hear it at a fucking Dead Kennedys concert in a mosh pit. It's intellectual fucking gumbo. It's nothing. You blame the Jews for everything because you are literally a hammer. All you see is a nail. But you have a right to say it. And I will defend and have defended your right to say it. But I can also say you deserve a muzzle and remedial history lesson. Suck it up. So all you Rumble pussies and YouTube, yes, I'm cussing at you because you're calling me every name in the book. Oh, look at the Zionist Jew lover. I am a Jew lover. I'm also a black lover. I'm a woman lover. I'm a Muslim lover, an Indian lover, Vietnamese. I don't care because I don't sit there. I have grown up to a point where I don't need to look at somebody's pigmentation to decide the value of who they are. I look at their actions. I look at their characteristics. And I'm also not so shallow and myopic that I will apply because one person does something to an entire race of people. That means you have small p energy. It means you're insecure. It means you're naive. And you're afraid to take risks. You're the same person that gets his heart broken when he's 14 and decides that he's going to stay single forever like Bill Maher because you're jaded. So a black person beat you up in high school. That doesn't mean all black people want to beat you up. Just because people get pissed at you doesn't mean that you go ahead and apply it to every race. Just because a woman breaks your heart doesn't mean you just sign off on women. Oh, I'm going to be gay now. Might as well throw me in prison lockup. I'm going to roll over for a pack of cigarettes with a guy named Bubba because I got my... What a pussy. So a Jew canceled your contract. They seized your bank account. I know, Kanye, it's so hard. You're the one that slept with Kim fucking Kardashian. You're the idiot who literally just focused on the punani and had every idea of who she was. Her name is Doorknob. Every guy gets a turn. And this is a person you're going to start a relationship with and have a kid with? And then you're going to name them a directional standing of 360 degree north? What? Northwest. Give me a break. Kanye West is not a spiritual leader. He's not an intellectual. He's not a purveyor of thought. He's not provoking intellectualism by his words. He is literally blaming the Jews for everything wrong in his life that he caused because he doesn't accept responsibility for who he is. He doesn't take any accountability that it could possibly be that he is off his fucking rocker. So yes, make your album, write your songs. I can't wait for Sacrifice a Goat to Satan comes out next month. I'm excited for it. But in the end, I can choose not to listen to you. And I can also make a video making you sound like a complete doucheplow because it's not hard. I just let you talk. But you have a right to make money. You have a right to sell your product. You have a right for it to be on every channel known to man. What you do not have a right is to be impervious to my critique or force me to listen to your bullshit. Okay? So Piers Morgan's wrong. And Jack Posobiec, once again, is based. Unbelievable. Dan T. Man says, you're awesome. Well, thanks. Usually it takes people at least 5 minutes to figure that out. So stupid. Kanye West. Lead us to the promised land. People are waking up. People are waking up to nigga Heil Hitler. Right. Wow. You know, I thought 7 years ago, once more into the breach, dear friends. The winter of my discontent. Every parting gives a foretaste to death. I thought these parables and poems and novels, I thought these were the things that helped us move forward as a society. I thought these were the things that stimulated free thought, that made us uncomfortable. When somebody says nigga Heil Hitler, it's not that it makes us uncomfortable because you said nigga or Heil Hitler. It makes us confused because do you understand how incredibly stupid and the oxymoron wrapped into your enigma/puzzle makes absolutely no sense. And that is what people like. Dude, it makes no sense. That's why it's deep. Right. I rub poo-poo on my body because it makes me smell like flowers. But it doesn't. That's the point. What? It just doesn't make any sense. I literally could just tear 500 words out of People magazine and then just randomly put them together and make more sense than what Ye is trying to say. First of all, I've got photographs from 2025 of him with his children. He's fucking lying to you. He's lying. He's seen his kids. You know what Kim Kardashian said and her lawyer said? He's got visitation rights. He just doesn't show up. Go figure, a black man who doesn't show up to see his kids. You asked for it. If you want to say nigga Heil Hitler, I can make black jokes. I'm just saying, if you don't like it, go talk to your daddy. If you can find him. Racism goes both ways. You hate Jews. You got free speech. Free speech. You racist. How can you say that? It's easy. I open my mouth and I just say it because I don't care. Just like Kanye, I don't care, but he cares. See, he believes that shit. I say it because I want to get a laugh. He says it because he actually believes that he can't see his kids because of Jews. And he repeats it in the song like 75 times. Okay? I'm done with Ye. This is going to piss some people off. Sean Ryan sounded like Sean Connery. Sean Ryan, some things in here don't react too well with bullets. Like me. Your best. Losers talk about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Carla was the prom queen. Right. You send one of his to the hospital. You send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. Tim Tebow was on Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan, the most handsome motherfucker there is. He's a podcaster. He's fantastic. He looks like he's part of the IRA. I love him. His entire set looks like a paddy wagon. I want to ride his rainbow and get the pot of gold at the end. Tim Tebow was on with Sean Ryan, who is not Irish, and most assuredly does not talk like that. Thank you for my blessing. I'm going to need it after tonight. And Tim Tebow broke out the red dot map. You know what I like about Tim Tebow? He's built, but he doesn't look skinny. Now, he's much more built than I am. I mean, the guy's in great shape. But we have a very similar build. Big head, big neck, big body. And that kid, his workout is incredible. Now, he's also 20 years my junior, but incredible. But he doesn't look skinny. He looks built like a brick shithouse. I don't know why I'm critiquing his physique. But anyway, here it is. This is not going to make you happy. This is scary shit. Matt, I do like when you recap some good, intelligent questions when you end your show, even when you respond to the funny posts. Okay. Well, then I'll do that. Remind me. Tim Tebow has a gift for Sean Ryan. It's a red map. And man, is this concerning. Just listen to this shit.
I brought a map to
folks. 247.03. We're $53 away. I'd love to overdrive. We have the ability. We got a shite ton of people on. We got 151 on local channels, and then we've got at least another 100, 125 on Wimkin and Rumble. Please, if everyone gave $1, we would hit it. It's simple math, folks. Simple math. We would crush it if everyone gave $1. See what you can do. See if you can help out. Here it is.
Share with you. Is this that? Every red dot on that. So first of all, that is a DOJ law enforcement map called the red dot map. And this is over the last 30 days, and every red dot on that map.
So the volume was a little shitty because he moved forward, and luckily the producer said, "Hey Ben, move back." So we got to hear it. Every dot on this map is all over the United States. It's the last 30 days. Okay, this is a great. If you have not watched, I watched this today in the shower. I always watch Sean Ryan in the shower. There's nothing like getting clean, like Mr. Clean. Sean, if you're ever going to have me on my show, please don't listen to that part of the show. I beg of you. It's going to be like, this guy was ex-Intel? So, yes, Tim Tebow is built. And Tim Tebow, when he does dual sledgehammers over the head onto a tire, and he'll rep that out 100 times. He's yoked, but he's a big boy. Anyway, this map, 100 red dots, 110,000, I believe it is all over the U.S. Listen to what it is.
Is at least one unique IP address of individuals downloading, sharing, distributing child abuse and rape images under the age of 12. And there's over 111,000 of them just in the US of the last 30 days. And I wanted to bring that because I think it brings to life so much of the evil that we're trying to face. And people will say, well, that's just over there and it's in those countries and it's all of those places. And it's not. Sean, it's right here in our backyard. It is right here. And out of everyone, and some people will say, okay, well they're just downloading and sharing it and distributing it, but they're not. 55 to 85% are also hands-on offenders, and your average offender has 13 victims in their lifetime. 13 victims. Every one of those red dots is there's a boy or girl that is suffering on the other end of what they're sharing, downloading, or distributing. And I wanted to share.
2 out of 3 children suffered some form of sexual assault in their lives. I'm one of them. Twice. Think about that number. Think about that number. We're not talking about porn. We're not talking about nude images of people on OnlyFans or some stupid revenge porn where some 17 or 16-year-old gets thrown up on the internet. We're talking about babies. We're talking about toddlers. We're talking about 6-year-olds and 10-year-olds who are being sexually exploited, trafficked, and used on the internet.
That with you because I know that your heart breaks for them, and I think that map brings to life the evil that we're trying to fight. And it's why, one of our hearts is to get the Renewed Hope Act passed through Congress, because it takes the law enforcement officers right now and victim identification officers at C3, and they're amazing, some of my favorite people in the world, but there's 7 of them right now at C3.
There's how many?
7.
7 people to
yes, and also ICACs are working on that. We love ICAC, and we need to enhance their funding because they desperately need it. Internet crimes against children, and they're awesome. 62 locations.
Donald Trump needs to watch this show. Donald Trump needs to watch this show. And if you want to do something with that USAID money, here it is. Give those people $10 million. Times their staff by 10 and start going after the most ardent criminals. Go after the people who have sexually molested children in the past who are downloading this stuff and throw them back in prison. Make this a part of their parole. Make it a felony. Change the laws. If they have been convicted of statutory rape or delinquency of a minor or whatever it would be, and you catch them downloading one image of porn, put them in jail. And then, you know what? Maybe door contacts are a good thing. Maybe reach out to these IPs and find out who it is. Now, I know 110,000, 111,000, that's a lot, but I guarantee that map is more red than this because a lot of those people are using VPNs or using browsers that cloak their identities. That won't show up on this. That will show up that they're from Canada or Venezuela or wherever, anywhere but the United States. So how many people are out of these people are actually smart enough to cover their tracks? How many hundreds of thousands are doing that? Now look at that number. Tina, you know, I know, and it makes me sick. You know, and people like Tina are handcuffed with what they can and can't do because there's not enough support. There's not enough money for this. But something needs to take place. And even if you just go after the content distributors, maybe you can't lawfully go into people's home for perusing a website. Okay, fine. But if they download and put that onto their computer, that's distribution. And the moment that they do that, they should be susceptible. You have to start somewhere. You have to draw the line somewhere. And here's the other thing. If we can stop TikTok from being accessed in the United States, we can stop this shit. We can shut the dark web down. We can deny access of anyone getting access to the dark web. And this is how you do it. You ensure that the protocol will not allow cloaked IPs or VPNs or redirects or secret browsers to have access. You have to have an open IP to go on the dark web. And then watch people not go. Or you could just do what we know you can do and shut it down. Why is it open? Why do you have pharmaceutical drugs that are there? Why do you have hitmen on there? Why do you have child porn on there? Why do you have credit cards and social security's numbers on there? This is literally a haven for criminals. If you could shut down TikTok, the biggest platform, biggest social media platform in the world, how can you not shut down the dark web? Yeah, you might be able to shut down 5 sites on the dark web and 5 more took its place. Fine. But you can stop access. If you can shut down TikTok, you can shut this down.
Around the country, but primarily the ones that are also working on this are at C3. And we want to get the Renewed Hope Act passed because it would take it from 7 to 200. And now we have a much greater chance if we have all of those officers that are trained and equipped to be fighting against this evil. And again, that's the last 30 days. And that's not getting into live streaming or sextortion or grooming or so many of the other issues we're fighting. That is just...
Or Facebook Messenger. We already did this stat in Florida, and the amount of messages that were associated with child sex trafficking through Facebook Messenger. We're talking 100,000 cases.
Just in peer-to-peer networks of them sharing and distributing child rape images under the age of 12.
This is 12 and under.
12 and under.
111,423 unique IP addresses.
Release these IPs out to the general public. Then make this a private sector initiative. Open up a charity, a 501c3. I guarantee that thing will get $100 million in 24 hours. Make a private sector initiative, non-government entity. Hell, you could give it to Elon Musk, where any reported IP will be traced and will be investigated, and make it a private industry that is simply based on donations. Watch what happens.
And some people will say, well, that's just, they're just downloading it and they're just sharing it. And no, it's not just that easy. You have to go in, you have to download it, just, a peer-to-peer, and then you have to be able to download all of these images, and then you're sharing them. It's not like this just happens by accident. It's not like, oh, I just looked at a bad picture, and it's not like this is a photo of a baby in a bathtub. No, so many of these are brutal abuse of children. And when we go back to those 50,000 boys and girls that are unknown in the ICSA database that we were talking about before, out of those 57,000, over 3,000 of them were infants or toddlers. Oh, man. And so if you say what's on our heart, and these are boys and girls that can't fight for themselves. They can't defend themselves. And yet, so many of us, myself for so long, did nothing to defend or stand up for them. And it is our heart that we would rally an army, and maybe we would even declare a national emergency to fight this evil. If this is happening in our backyard, and out of all those that have been rescued from, or out of all those that have been, safeguarded and rescued from Renewed Hope 1, 2, and 3, more than half of those boys and girls have been right here in the U.S. So we think it's over there, it's over there, it's over there. No, yes, it is happening in other places, but it is happening in our country, right here, in our neighborhoods, in our backyards, in our families. And then we get into the fight against live streaming. And do you know the number one payer of live stream rape of boys and girls around the world?
U.S.
U.S. Not close. And in peer-to-peer sharing, we're third. China, Russia, America. Man. Sorry, I do get fired up about it.
I do too, man. It's how are you combating this?
Well, we're trying to do it in every area, in every way possible, whether that's with partnerships and nonprofits and law enforcement and rallying and task forces and legislation and lobbying, trying to get them to enhance the army per se in fighting this. And that's really what the Renewed Hope Act is for. But it's also getting the Renewed Hope operations more and more and more. And we're having more and more every day. But it's also, creating awareness. And I hate to use awareness because people say it all the time, and I don't want awareness for awareness sake. I want people to be aware so we act to do something. I think we really have to change laws and legislation, and I believe there's a lot of people in Congress and in DC that want to change it, but we have to get it done. We have to protect these boys and girls. And I know we have to figure out budgets and balances and all these important things, but what does it matter if we figure out a budget but our boys and girls in our backyard are being raped and abused? Like, let's make the main thing the main thing. This should be a main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this has to be a main thing.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly.
It's if you want to go to, it's a timtebowfoundation.org. I will put it up on the site if you want to go take a look. Donate. If you're thinking of donating this Friday, you know what? That's important, but this is important. Yeah, I can't go into details. I'll just say this. I had someone notify me that there was something on the dark web that I should see. And I started looking into what it takes to get there. And it's not an easy process. And I'm certainly not going to go into specifics, but the point is that on the internet, things just don't pop up that don't curtail to text you're sending or searches you're doing. It all is interconnected. And I promise you this, if you go in and look up puppies and ice cream every single day for your life, you're going to get puppies and ice cream show up on your search engines. And you're not going to be clicking on a porn site. But if you're looking at nefarious things and then you go in the dark web and search for it, that is very different than happening upon it. Because I will tell you, Google and Bing and Alta Vista and Lycos and whatever, all these other search engines, I don't even know what's out there anymore. They have done a fairly good job of stopping general traffic images of this nature. It is at least my understanding. And there's probably maybe a couple people in here who could tell me differently. But the dark web is designed for this type of stuff. And illicit material, drugs, crime. And I'm telling you, we have got to take it more seriously. Getting involved and getting access to this is not just a simple clicking on Internet Explorer. So when anyone says, well, I accidentally happened upon this, if someone is distributing, if someone is harboring, if someone is trafficking, if somebody is consuming the material and reproducing material, that is a very different thing. And so is grooming, and so is interacting and trying to solicit dates. This stuff is deeper than just the web. And it's not going to be just the government that's going to stop it. It's going to be parents. It's going to be brothers and sisters and loved ones who end this type of thing by monitoring and making sure that they have the right conditions on all devices in their homes and that kids can't access this type of stuff and they can't talk to these predators and they understand what stranger danger is and all of these things. We all grew up with it, and even more than it was yesterday, which was we were afraid a car would pull up and talk to us walking home. Now they are inundated on social media. They're inundated at school. It's everywhere. It makes everyone sick. But we talk about it and don't do anything about it. And then you've got people talking about maps, and Amy just said it, that it's a sickness, and making excuses for the shit and trying to normalize this shit. No. Anyway. Folks, we are $53 shy. I'm going to jump off here in a few. We've got one or two more things to do. We'll be right back after this video ad. This is coming on Friday. Don't miss out, please.
The DUM Show, May 16th, 2025, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. One goal, one night, one chance. Chris Baranto, Laura Logan, Roseanne Barr, Jason Shepard, T.S. Dixon, Damani Felder, Barry Morgenstein, Ryan Samuels, Lisa Regina. One night only. The race to 20K is on. Be part of it.
Pretty much got one more for you, folks. And this is going on the new Sharia law city that we talked about last night. An update on this. Everyone has said, hey, the governor shut it down. That is correct. The government did shut it down. At least the governor said he shut it down. But here is what Will Cain was reporting today. And I really have been enjoying the Will Cain show. You should watch it. It's good. He does a good job. Here it is.
I know you have visited it recently. Can you give us a little bit of an update on what you've seen, what's happening out there?
Well, yes, thanks, Will. The development or planned development has caused a lot of interest and concern. It is being developed by a group that has been based in the city of Plano for more than a decade. They decided to expand. They bought property in the unincorporated county, and so far, it's just basically farmland and marketing. So they started last year marketing the properties. And as you mentioned, the plans are expansive: homes, a mosque, community centers, schools. But that's all on paper right now. Right? It's still empty farmland. They are still in the very preliminary early stages of the development. And so it was interesting to see Governor Abbott's message on X stating that he had halted construction because no construction has even come close to beginning.
Empty farmland, right?
Empty farmland.
Empty farmland and plans for Epic City.
So, it's an interesting point. And I would like to see more on this. You know, I want to, we have to ask ourselves the question, can somebody come in and build something, a sovereign city or statehood or town or municipality inside that goes against our country's laws and people who want to be ruled under a different order? And the answer is no. But we have to then look at the Amish. And we have to look at others, because if you're going to allow the Amish to protect, to worship in a certain way and use their religious beliefs and their ideologies to dignify and justify how they live, then how do we tell people living under Sharia law that they can't do the same? I understand the nuance. I understand the difference. And no, Giuseppe isn't clacking off a vest in the local oats store. I get it. Listen, I know. I understand. But we've got to ask ourselves the question is how do we impact this without setting a precedent that every single person in this country has to follow the laws of this land, and that would be done retroactively too. Because you have certain Hindu and religious sects that don't recognize the U.S. government and our laws here. You've got Amish who feel the same way. You have people who believe in Christian Science who follow different rules and regulations than what's on the books. You have Amish assimilate. Really? When's the last Amish person to serve in the U.S. military? So that's not assimilation. I'm glad you grew up with the Amish, and I don't need to grow up with the Amish to know that they don't believe in open conflict. And I know that they propose and move against certain taxes that are required. And I understand that they also have safe havens and certain laws that they don't have to abide by where they live. So you can pretend that that's not the same thing, but that's absolutely the same thing. They don't follow all state and federal laws. That's not true. See, now this is the problem. I have step Amish family who served as a nurse. That's great. Amish typically end formal schooling at 8th grade, which violates compulsory education laws in all states. 1972 Supreme Court case, Wisconsin versus Yoder, ruled in favor, allowing them to stop school after 8th grade. Most older Amish reject Social Security and Medicare, citing their religious belief in caring for their own. The IRS grants them exemptions or self-employed Amish under religious grounds. Under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, the Amish were exempt for the individual mandate to purchase health insurance. They rely on community mutual aid systems, driver's license, and traffic laws. Many Amish do not drive cars and therefore do not hold driver's license, but they still use roads with horse-drawn buggies, which require driver's license. They often clash with local vehicle safety laws, requiring lights, reflectors, and slow-moving vehicles, building codes, and zoning laws. Amish construction, barns, homes, schools may not always meet local building codes, particularly for plumbing, electricity, or smoke detectors. Some have been cited or sued. Child labor laws. Amish children often begin work on farms at businesses at very young ages, some as early as 8 or 9, which can technically conflict with child labor law or regulations. Photo identification requirements. Some Amish reject having their photo taken, especially for government IDs or passports. Exceptions are sometimes made, such as allowing IDs without photos. Military service and jury duty. They don't serve jury duty, and they will not actually honor the draft and register for the draft, which is against the law as well. As pacifists, Amish claim conscientious objection to status of military drafts. So before we start espousing, oh, they follow everything. It's not true. They don't. So do I have a problem with that? No. No. But religious freedom in this country is a right. So should a country... Okay, once again, here comes Larry. Because Larry can never have a non-emotional conversation. All right, fine, I'll say it. The Amish haven't been attacking us since Barbary pirates. I just said that. I just said the Amish aren't going and clacking off vests. But either is 95% of the Muslim population, okay, dude? Seriously? If you're one of the guys that think that the entire Muslim population are far extremists and Muslim extremists, then guess what, bro? We would all be dead. So I understand where you're coming. That's fine. I can tell you the Northern Indiana violations too, Angela, because they are there. Jessica, I'm not saying, once again, you guys are justifying it. See, what you're doing is you're saying religious liberty is okay for some, but not for others. What you're saying. So either we're for, so just like freedom of speech is okay for some people, not for everybody. Is that what we're saying? I am simply making an example that the Amish are a community of people who do not follow all the federal and state laws and have established a colony of people that go against the standard practices that others follow based on religious beliefs. How is that statement? Call me, 276-200-2105, and tell me how. Now, if you want to start making an emotional argument and you want to start saying, well, yeah, but Muslim extremists blow shit up. That's true, but not all Muslims do that. They don't chant death to America. Either does 95% of Muslims. Since money and power behind it, I'd say pretty hard. I don't know what that means. Tina Savage reminds me of the guest we had on, Cheyenne Helms. Her baby died from fentanyl at a family. Ugh, yeah, I know, that was horrible. Horrible. That episode got me. That was emotional. So my point is, I'm turning on phone lines. So when they say they don't chant death to America, you're absolutely right. I've never, maybe there's an Amish person who said death to America. I seriously doubt it. My point is that not all say death to America. And a very large portion of the Muslim people are peaceful and have no desire to do that. That's my argument. And I think it's a fair argument on this, folks. We either believe in unequivocal religious freedom for all here, even Satan worshipers. They're going to establish a majority in that area and demand the citizens of that area to assimilate to them. They can demand everything they want. But the moment that they break laws and the moment that they violate law and try to impose their will, that's a different story. But you can't punish people for something they didn't do. You are disagreeing with me, Angela. You just said I was wrong. You said they don't do that. They do that. I'm not disagreeing with you. It just seems like there is a difference between Amish having their religious freedoms to build an exclusive city is different, in my opinion. I don't find it different at all. I don't. It's still religious freedom. They believe in Sharia law. They believe in the Quran. They believe in the Muslim religion. Do they have a right to build a community? Do retirement people have a right to build a community that we can't come into? I can't go into certain gated communities of retirement communities. I can't live there. I can't live in certain places in Florida. Is that okay? I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm asking you to be balanced. Or the moment that they seek elected office, they can seek elected office without a community. Didn't stop Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan took it over. Somalians took that place over. It's like 79% Somalian. It's the highest density location in the United States of Somalians. They took it over. They didn't need to create some sort of city. And look at Island Omar. She absolutely chants death for America herself. Should we go in and Waco those people? We don't have to sit here and split hairs. In fact, we can't. We can't sit here and say, okay, well, the Amish, because we like them and they don't ruffle our feathers, except for driving a buggy without a driver's license and refusing to take a picture and serve their country and do jury duty and pay certain taxes. We can say, well, that's okay because it's all benign. But We don't want people who force women to wear burqas and focus on Sharia law because we don't like their practice. Well, some people don't like Catholics. Some people don't like Mormons. Some people don't like Buddhists. Some people think Mormons are a version of Satan worshiping. I don't know what to tell you. The question is, do we start going into Provo, Utah, where the density of Mormons is absolutely massive, from city council to the legislatures to everyday police officers? The Mormon religion is absolutely satirized in Utah. But a complete city, I just told you, Provo, Dearborn, Michigan. I'm letting you. Okay, so what do you think about Little China? What do you think about going to Chinatown in Los Angeles? Have you been there? Have you been on East Colfax in Colorado and gone through the Muslim communities and the Korean communities and Vietnamese? There's entire 10 or 12 city blocks that are all Vietnamese people, and there's nobody else. No one available to take my call. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. I'm trying to sign in. Hoping this works. Hold on. Okay, now try. Sorry. Does it differ from the Native American tribes who still have their own government? Perfect, Jessica. What a I didn't even think of that. Excellent. What an amazing thought process. Good for you. You think I would have hit that. That really sums it up, doesn't it? Well, Native Americans didn't have a choice. Yes, they did. They didn't have to take that reservation. They could move off any time they want. They're not beholden to it. They're not chained there. They live there, and they follow different laws and different rules than the United States does. Well, that's different. We took their land. Some people would say what we did in Iraq and what we did in Mogadishu and what we did in Afghanistan really took the place of those people's homes, too. Is this Paul?
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
It's good, buddy. What do you want to talk about? I have a feeling it's about this. But first,
Yes,
before we do that, folks, we are a little shy on the donations, and I'm well into overtime. And honestly, I got to get ready for the show. It's been a lot of long days. So if we have an opportunity and you want to help donate, and you're not mad at me if we're trying to just talk to you normally, and I'm just asking questions to start a conversation, I'm truly doing that, and I have my opinions. And you're not too upset. Maybe you can donate to the show. Go ahead. What do you think, Paul?
My question would be, and I completely agree with you. I mean, where do we draw the line as far as religious freedom in this country, which is protected by the First Amendment? The Amish have done it. We have Hutterites and Mennonites up here in Montana that do it. But I kind of think what the listeners are trying to point to is that, so where do you draw the line as far as, okay, they set up this community, and inside this community, it's Sharia law.
Right.
So that means a father can take his daughter out into a public square in this community and stone her to death.
Well, you can do that in the Bible, too.
Right?
You can do it in the Bible, too.
Right, but
Well, hold on a second. So we just don't follow the word of God because we don't like it.
Well, no, but that's my question, or my point would be, Sharia law has some things in it that absolutely go against the laws of the United States, and not just building codes and education and things like that. It gives a father or a husband the right to kill their daughter or their wife because they disrespected them, or they showed their face in public, or
Right.
Something like that.
Right. No, I'm with
Okay,
you. So no, hold on, Paul. So I'm with you. So do you have any farmland up there by chance?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, not me personally, but
do you
farmland.
plant fruits and vegetables and stuff when you guys have like your 3 days of spring and summer?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever plant cucumbers next to tomatoes, or do you try to keep above ground stuff with above ground stuff and underground stuff like beets and radishes and potatoes underground next to each other, and then the tomatoes and the cucumbers, since they're more of a bush plant, next to each other? Do you do that?
I'm not sure how they do it. I know they switch crops just to keep the soil.
So are you going to execute them for planting crops side by side of a different type, or is the sheriff going to do that?
Nobody does that, and
Well,
and
it's
that's
in the
my
old
point.
it's in the Old Testament. It should be done. So it has to be done. It's in the Bible.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of with you on the Bible.
Okay. So no, because you're not with me, because I believe that certain societal structures can Americanize, and Western civilization and Eastern philosophy can mix together, right? I believe that. Like, I don't believe that all Chinese people who come over to the United States believe in what the CCP tells them. I believe they can Americanize. Do I believe that certain Muslims here may follow certain confines of Sharia law? Yes, just like I believe there's certain Catholic faiths who follow Opus Dei, and there's other faiths who are extremists in their beliefs. But there is a lot of stuff in the Old Testament that is fairly fire and brimstone. But here's what Sharia law is. Let's talk about it. And I am advocating not for Sharia law. I've seen it in action. I've been overseas. And I believe that Sharia law is complete fucking garbage in every single essence of the word. In the areas it is. And then there's areas that it's not, and there's nothing wrong with it in some areas. But there's something wrong with Christianity and Catholicism and every other religion. So here's education laws. Worship and religious duties. 5 pillars of Islam. You probably know these are mandatory. Shahada, declaration of faith. Salat, praying 5 times a day. Zakat, giving alms, 2/5 of income. Saum, which is fasting during Ramadan. And then Hajj, which is pilgrimage to Mecca if available. Personal conduct. No alcohol, gambling, or drugs. That's not a bad one. That's not bad. Mormons do that. Modesty and dress. Women often required to wear hijab. Men must also dress modestly. I'm not a big fan of that. No premarital or extramarital sex. Sounds like Christianity there. No homosexuality, considered a criminal offense in many Sharia compliant nations. No interest riba on loans. So Islamic banking avoids charging interest. I mean, these are just a few. Here's some more. Men may marry up to 4 wives, but must treat them equally. Here's our first American-born broken law, which would be polygamy and bigamy, right? Women need male guardian approval for marriage in most interpretations. Well, my daughter needs approval for marriage because I'm not giving her away until I approve of the guy. He had to ask me when he wanted to date my daughter. So that's a rule for me. Divorce allowed, but processes differ from men and women. Men can initiate more easily. Well, that's true here too. Let's be honest. Women have a very easy time going through divorce, and men with custody hearings and alimony and everything else have a little bit of a harder time. So it's dyslexic here. Custody rules often favor fathers after a certain child age. Well, it favors mothers here. So it's not exactly the same, but it's the same stripes on the tiger. Criminal law. Now here's the good one. Theft, hand amputation in extreme interpretations and only in some nations. So cutting off people's hands is only in some interpretations of Sharia law, and that is the most, there's like the most avid devotees. I know those are the extremists. Adultery, stoning to death. Rarely applied today, must be proven by 4 witnesses. Drinking alcohol is caning or flogging. False accusation of adultery, 80 lashes. Highway robbery and murder can carry capital punishment. And then leaving the Islam faith can result in death. We're almost done. Civil and financial inheritance. Males typically receive double the share of females. I completely agree with that. Contracts and trade must be free from deception and usury. Charity and endowments play a major role in wealth distribution. Legal testimony. A woman's testimony in certain areas count as half of a man's. Totally understand that. They get very emotional, especially during that time of the month. It's a joke, folks. Lighten up. Non-Muslims' testimonies may not carry the same legal weight as Muslims. So I'm okay with about 75% of that. How about you?
Yeah, and they do it here already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those devout Muslims we have wandering around cities and inside their homes, I'm quite sure they practice Sharia law. And their wives and I mean, we've had instances where, what was it? Was it New York? Where that guy killed both of his daughters?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fucked up. That was so fucked up. God.
Right. He
I'm not
shot
laughing,
him in a
dude.
cab or something like that.
Yeah, I remember. And it's like, it's my daughter.
Practicing Sharia law.
Yeah, I know. Listen.
Because both of his daughters disrespected him and were dating something, or I don't remember the exact story, but that's where Sharia law
She touched a black man.
crosses.
She was with a black man, and that's why I think that's what kicked it off. And that was
Right.
That was a no. But once again, these
and
are,
like I said, I don't remember the exact details, but that's where Sharia law crosses,
of course,
U.S. law.
And that is in extreme circumstances. And when I read it off to you, I don't have the percentages, but most Sharia law, they've shed that. Like Saudi Arabia was one of the least to embrace Western civilization, even though people said that they've always leaned in that way. No, their punishments were fairly, arcane. And, women couldn't drive up to a certain period of time, and education and full burqas in 130-degree heat. I'm with all of you. I agree with everything you're saying. I think Sharia law I think any law that's based on religion is stupid. I do. I don't think laws should be based on religion, because not everybody practices the same religion. That's why our laws, although tied to the Ten Commandments in a lot of ways, have been expanded on by mutual agreement by community. And so therefore, it's not religious law. Now, we swear on the Bible, in God we trust, in pluribus unum, and all that. And yes, there are cross-references between biblical statements and biblical ideologies in our religious system, because we are a Christian nation and we were built that way. But But not the letter of the law is based upon the Ten Commandments alone. So is Sharia law bad? In this case, no, not all of it. Is there some Sharia law that absolutely goes against our belief structure? Yes. But remember this, do people have a right to come into our country and live under their religious doctrine? Do they have that right?
Yes, they do.
Then they can do that. And if it breaks laws, like on an Indian reservation, what if there's a serial killer who's Native American? We can't send the FBI in there unless they break a federal law. So if it's a state law, it has to be handled by the reservation police, right?
Yep.
So the question is, do you then start? Now, here's the thing that's really going to piss people off. In this city, do they have their own police department? Do they have their own judges? Do they have their own jails? If they do, now you're talking about a completely independent sovereign nation inside our country. And that is something that may not be allowed constitutionally.
Well, and I mean, I live right next to, just north of the Salish Kootenai reservation. It's 20 minutes down the road. And they do have their own tribal police. They do have their own tribal councils.
Yeah.
They do have their own tribal courts.
Yeah, they do.
But when it does break into that federal crime,
Yes.
If they steal a car or if they rob somebody's house, it goes under the tribal jurisdiction.
Right.
If they kill somebody, now you're into federal jurisdiction.
Right. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, and that's where it would be, where Sharia law comes in is, okay, say you have that absolutely devout person who thinks that if their daughter dates someone and they have this community, they live in this community, they practice this law in this community, and that daughter strays outside of that community and meets a boy at school or something like that, and
what's happening
now,
out there?
Dad has the right to stone his daughter to death.
Well,
That crosses the line.
Hold on a second. The people in New York, he was tried for murder, right? So he was arrested, and
Right.
So this is where the lines are muddied. Can they follow religious doctrine? And the answer is yes. Once the religious doctrine impedes on the individual rights of people in that community, and a law is broken that contradicts state or federal law, as long as they are not an independent nation, then state and local government would go in and intercede. Doesn't matter what they say. It can be a gated community, but standard police. Now, the moment that they declare themselves as a sovereign nation, or they don't need city and state police, say they go with the constable situation, which would be a police which is actually run by the community, right? A volunteer service of constables and constabularies, which Spring, Texas has. They have constables. We didn't have cops. We had constables. A very different thing. But even those constables have to follow city, state, and local law. So the only way that they can do this is to be granted the land to be not an embassy, but it would be a sovereign entity. And that is a completely different process that requires federal and state approval. They're not doing that, and they're not going to get that. Otherwise, I believe the Amish and several other countries would have done that already. And what a clever way to build a standing army in the United States, as by declaring a sovereignty and having that be foreign soil on that area, like an embassy, and therefore would have immunity, because it would be applying some sort of diplomatic status to that location. That's not what's happening here. So are they going to be able to just stone somebody? No, not without going to jail.
Right. That's the line, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the Amish, they have exemptions to taxes, they have exemptions to building codes, they have exemptions, which does that mean we're going to have a bunch of mud huts in some city and freaking with the hole out the back of the wall into a ditch behind the house?
The oven,
is that what's going to happen?
The oven is built into the living room, and it's all wood fire, and we're gonna have we're gonna have court. I know. I'm with you, dude. Listen, this doesn't.
I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
I know.
I've seen how these people live, and it's just wow.
Yeah, but you've seen the video. I mean, come on, man. We're seeing the architectural plans and design. This literally looks like a anything you would see in Ashburn, Virginia. It's high end. It's nice stuff. This is going to be multi-millionaires living here. This doesn't look like Dregs HUD housing here. I don't think we're going to see much shake roofs with frickin' straw coming out of it. Okay, I know what you saw over there, and so did I. But I don't think the pet is not going to be a goat. Okay, the pet is more than likely going to be a dog or a cat here. But these people are going to follow a very strict religious code, minus the violations of human rights laws and individual rights that are inherent in this country. Because if they don't, they're going to go to jail.
Right. Sure. And that's kind of where I agree with you on this, is that as long as they don't cross that line.
Yeah.
If you want to make your wife cover her face and show no skin,
that's your choice.
And your daughters, and you want to cut their education off at 8th grade, and they can still function in society outside of that community.
It's your choice,
dude. I guess.
Yeah, I guess too. I don't
agree. I don't agree with it.
I don't either.
but
when she's 18, she can leave, or she can file a complaint, just like every other child who feels that their rights are being infringed upon. Do I think any of this is good? No, I don't. I think religion and politics should stay out of each other. I really do, because you can't have individual rights with having secular beliefs that you're not something you participate in. It's just not the way it works. Like, we all have to pay taxes. We all have to pay insurance. And if we don't, we go to jail. You shouldn't go to jail because you're not a Christian, right? You shouldn't be locked up and thrown away. And you shouldn't be beaten to death because you are a Muslim. So once again, I think our first reaction is to flip the fuck out and go back to 2014 when the Tea Party that was taken over by the Koch brothers and Michelle Bachmann and Paul Ryan and Jason Chaffetz and all these other wannabe Republicans and neo-partiers told us that Sharia law was coming to the United States and scared every woman in the frickin' United States trying to win an election against Obama, which wound up having Trump to come in and just literally attack Obama's policy and not his religion, and it worked. I don't believe going back to this fear tactic that Sharia law is coming to the United States. I don't know what your wife's like, but you've met mine, and do you really think she's going to listen? And listen to me.
I would imagine you listen to her a lot more.
Which sucks. It sucks. It sucks.
She's got the spick in her. So if she needs to go Latina on you,
she does, dude.
I'll bet she does.
She does. Someone says, Matt, can Americans set up a community in other countries? There's Americanized areas in other countries. There's Americanized areas in Holland and Belgium. There's Americanized areas in the UK, in Australia, in Japan. Most around military bases, France and Italy and Bahrain, there's Americanized areas, and most of it, like I said, is conducive to military bases, and then the spouses go and teach English or whatever in these countries. So yeah, we can, and we have, and I lived in many of them.
And that's the beautiful thing about this country,
right?
Is you can come here and do that.
Yeah, you just do it right. Follow our laws.
If you want to follow your religious beliefs, and no matter how much they go against American culture, and really you make your wife do that, you keep your daughters from doing that, okay, all right, fine. That's the beautiful thing about this country. You can do that here.
I just got sent something that I'm going to bring into the show real quick. By a gentleman who may not want me to release his name, so we're going to simply call him Joe. Sent me an article, and I haven't had a chance to read it.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, figure I'd read it to you. And by the way, I would love if somebody would send in the remaining $53 of our goal. U.S. soldiers told to ignore sexual abuse of boys by Afghan allies. Oh yeah, I heard this. The exact origins of Baka-Bazi in Afghanistan are difficult to pinpoint, as the practice has deep historical roots and the lack of precise starting date. If it's believed to have emerged in its modern form in Central Asia. Good night, buddy. Love you. Have a good night's sleep. Bachi boys, essentially, that were raped as little boys and groomed to become sexual partners for these men. It's common in Afghanistan. Our troops had a really hard time with this. Some beat the crap out of these abusers and were jailed by their own government. Our own United States government. Look it up. It's disgusting. Listen, I know that Paul may have a story or two, but I can tell you I saw this in Japan. You saw it with the schoolgirls. I mean, we're talking 8-year-olds who are white cotton underwear with skirts that ride up their butt. The uniforms, they sexualize children in Japan horribly. I saw this in Bali. I saw this in French Polynesia. We saw this everywhere we went. New Delhi, India. You saw it in places in Russia. This stuff is common. And child sex trafficking not only happens in the United States, which it is a lot, it happens all over the world, and it's no joke. I have heard of this, and I know several veterans who ran into this personally, and I can tell you a story of me running into a Japanese commander who was on our base, who United States and Japan worked together and share naval bases in Yokohama, Yokosuka, Okinawa, and I almost put a guy right through a wall. So it happens. You see it. And in my opinion, every single veteran who put a hand on any of those people should be reinstated or forgiven for all charges and have their record clean, because that shit can't happen. But here's the thing. Command doesn't care about that. Command cares about international incidents, and they cover up things, and they cover it up because they don't give a shit, because they're like, we're not in America, and American values are not alive here. We're here to bring democracy to these people. We're not here to practice it. That's it.
Right.
And it sucks.
And
tell me you haven't heard that statement, Paul. We're here to bring democracy to these people, not practice it, right?
Yes. And like you said, I've seen it several times, village leaders and things like that. And he's got this woman and this teenage girl and a couple of other little girls all the way down to freaking 8, 9, 10 years old. And I'm thinking I'm talking to this guy and his family through a translator. And then we walk away from the situation, and I get informed that those are all his wives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like, are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
I didn't see it to that level.
And we couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's just what they do. It's how they are. And you just got to leave it be. And it was hard. It was what? Oh.
Yeah. We saw it in the Philippines.
Different world.
We saw it in the Philippines. We saw it all over the place, but not to the extent as the Middle East, because it's bad there too. It's bad everywhere. India is horrible with it. But once again, the things we put our veterans through, the things that we put our soldiers through, and airmen and midshipmen and sailors and Marines, it's not okay. And they come home carrying baggage because we're in these shithole countries that just do things that are completely immoral. And they do it under the guise of religion, and they do it under the guise of moral guidance and to cleanse their soul for purity, when it's some of the most disgusting and ritualistic punishments and depravity that I've ever seen. But once again, if you're over there, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do.
You don't mess with the Romans.
Nope.
Yeah.
You just listen and you watch, and you hope that when they're setting that IED that they cross a wire or two or put a knee down in the wrong place and blow themselves to fucking Allah, is what you hope. Paul, I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page. I think we agree that that biblical
freedom of religion.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's
but there's a line that some of these religions cross.
Yes,
here
sir.
In America, and that's the line we have to hold.
Yeah, that's it. And listen, I want Sharia law? No, I don't. Do I want it in just my wonderful state of Texas? No, I don't. But there's a lot of things I don't want. I don't want the Church of Satan in Santa Barbara, California. I had to see that every single fucking day. I don't want that in there too, but it is. It's there.
Right. Yep. And it all goes back to the Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they have that constitutional right?
Yep.
To do that.
Yep.
Without crossing our law.
That's it.
And yes, they do.
They do. Paul,
yes,
I'm going to go. It's 10 o'clock at night. I always love talking to you. I got to find a way to hit this 53, and I'm going to let you go, buddy. Appreciate you calling me.
All right, brother.
And we'll talk soon as always. See you on Friday for sure, right?
All right, man. Yep.
All right, Paul.
I'll be there.
All right. Folks, thanks
thanks,
Paul.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in a little bit. Just got a quick video, and then we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Hopefully, we can pop a donation here real quick because we are behind. Friday night, folks, this is coming to you. It's all from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Be a great way to hit goal right now and then crush it Friday as we go for $10,000, which will be matched by Chuck Peterson for $20,000. We're building our new studio. I had my wood guy in today. We're going to get it all built. We're ready to go. It is going to be state of the art. But first, watch this, and then we'll give closing thoughts.
The DUM Show, May 16th, 2025, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. One goal, one night, one chance. Chris Peranto, Laura Logan, Roseanne Barr, Jason Shepard, T.S. Dixon, Damani Felder, Barry Morgenstein, Ryan Samuels, Lisa Regina. One night only. The race to 20K is on. Be part of it.
A 3-hour show and we didn't hit goal. That's not good. Folks, appreciate you. Thanks for tonight. And sorry we didn't hit it, but I tried to stay on as late as I can. It's been a long couple of weeks, and it's just going to get longer. Friday's going to be a very long show. Want to congratulate the Dallas Stars. Looks like they're a 1-goal lead. Looks like they could go up 3-1, but the Jets may have something to say about that. What else? Nuggets are playing tonight, I think. Hurricanes are in a commanding 3-1 lead. Golden Knights down 3-1. So looks like we've got a lot of finales here. And then Panthers and Maple Leafs tied up 2-2. What an amazing thing. Going to check the NBA real quick. And then I got to go. Waiting to donate at the minute. Now is the time. It is the time, folks. OKC and Denver are playing right now. It's tied up 14-13. The series tied 2-2. I think Denver takes this game. I think they take this game and then they take game 6, and then it's going to be good. I had a good show tonight. I had a great time with you guys tonight. I do have to go. Appreciate the donations. Appreciate everything you guys did. We don't win them all the time, and this is one of the cases where we didn't. But hopefully this isn't a sign of what happens Friday, because Friday is a lot of time and effort have gone into it, and we really need people to show up. So if you can help us, please do. Thanks for watching. Who is Lara Logan? Oh, well, that's a long story. And I will give it, just hoping that somebody helps out here and gets us to the finish line. I'm going to tell you who Lara Logan is and give you just a quick bio I wrote on her. I'm looking it up right now. Hurry up. She was born in South Africa. She's a journalist. She was renowned for her extensive work as a war correspondent, her tenure at CBS. She earned a diploma in French culture and history from the Alliance Française in Paris. She began her journalism career in South Africa, like I said. Her international reporting gained prominence during the early 2000s, including Iraq and Afghanistan. Personal challenges and assault in Egypt in February 2011 while covering celebrations in Cairo's Tahrir Square. Following President Hosni Mubarak's resignation, Logan was brutally assaulted by a mob. She was rescued by a group of women and Egyptian soldiers and subsequently returned to the U.S. for treatment. She later spoke publicly about the attack, raising awareness of the dangers journalists face in conflict zones. I'm not going to go into specifics. I will tell you, Laura is an extremely beautiful and kind person who was horribly assaulted by a large group of men. It is horrific, and we will not be talking about it because I don't want you to know anything about her that's been covered a million times. I want you to hear about her passion about fentanyl, hear her passion about the United States and how much she loves this country. She is an amazing human being, and she has been through a lot. She is an incredible person. You'll probably be most interested with her because she is just so studious and smart. So we'll have Laura on. I would love to have her on for a couple hours, but she's fantastic. I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, folks, I'm not going to keep kicking a dead mule. We've done our best. We missed it. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See you at, I will be running solo tomorrow. Olivia and I will. Amy, I'm giving her the night off. So we'll see you guys Wednesday, 7 o'clock. God bless. Thank you.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.